Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out, procrastination, putting it off, kicking the can down the road. In, plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out, carpet in the bathroom. Like, why? In, knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week, in Fishkill, New York, a raging middle-of-the-night house fire eventually reveals that this wasn't just a fire, but an attempt to cover up some of the most heinous acts imaginable. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
And I'm Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today. We're beyond excited today. We are going to do something. Well, you know what? We're going to make fun of a place I lived a long time and where my family has some deep roots and where I went to high school and everything like that. So that way, it's a lot of fun because I don't mind making fun of where I'm from. Do you?
No,
it's great,
Jesus,
right? No, it's wonderful. That's what we're all about. So now nobody complains anymore. Nobody. Don't say, oh, but you're extra mean to... Nope, no, I'm not. Wait till this. Wait till you hear this. Buckle up. Before we get into that, real quickly, just want to thank everyone for everything they've done for us this week. Thank you so much for your reviews, especially Apple Podcasts. Don't know why they help, but they do help drive us up the charts. So if you could get on that and give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. That's not important. It's not for our ego.
No.
You can't fix us.
Shit, no.
Not with words, anyway. So Do that. It helps drive us up the charts. Also, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything crime and sports and small town murder. If you're not listening to Crime and Sports, you are missing out. Give next week your first episode if you haven't. It's going to be Michael Irvin, a guy you've heard of.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the Scummy Awards. This year's Scummy Awards. It's going to be, it's the show of the year every year. So definitely get on that. Check that out. Also, listen to P.S. I Hate This movie where I have to watch Twilight. All 38 installments of Twilight.
That's
yeah, and I get tormented, so then I get to talk mad shit about them. So do all of that. Patreon.com, of course. Patreon.com/crime and sports, to be exact. You can get all of your bonus material. Holy, we have so much bonus coming up. Crime and Sports, we have Danny Almonte, who was the Little League kid who was blowing everybody away with his fastball and who nobody could believe that a youngster could be so amazing. And they were right because he wasn't the age he said he was. And it's a very interesting story. And then on Small Town Murders, we just have an insane rampage in Oregon. It's so nuts that I don't think it's even in a small town, but it's so crazy it doesn't matter. You have to hear about it.
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, if we do like a murder story on just a one murder story on a bonus episode, that means it's really crazy, and you don't want to miss that. So check all that out. Patreon.com/crime and sports. All of that, and Jimmy will mispronounce your name brutally, honestly, at the end of the show. Terribly, especially if you're Italian, it'll be extra awful for you, but he tries his best, so we do appreciate you. Thank you for everything.
Adorable.
And if you just want to make a donation, have great karma, and be a producer and get a shout-out and your name butchered, you can do that over at PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. So, that said, it's time for the disclaimer, and then we can get into this. This is a comedy show. Yeah. Obviously, we're comedians, and we're going to make jokes. It's going to happen. And there's going to be murder because it's called Small Town Murder. And it'd be really weird if it was about like crafts and roller coasters and shit. It'd be a strange show. Everyone would think it was odd. So there's going to be murder, and we're going to talk about it. We go out of our way not to make jokes or not to try to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why would we do that?
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
There you
That's
go.
How it works. So if that sounds good to you, buckle up. Murders happen, and this one, as you'll find out, is especially kind of close to home here. So it happens. So we're going to try our best, though, to do nice with it and to make right by it, as we always do. If that sounds good to you, excellent. If you don't think that true crime and comedy should ever go together, you might not like the show. You might like it more than you think, but I don't know if you want to give it a shot. Either way, no complaining later. The rest of you that want to hear a crazy story, I think it's time to sit back and shout,
Shut up and give me murder!
Let's do this, Jimmy.
All right.
Let's go on a trip, shall we?
I would like that.
All right, let's do this. We are going. We were in Texas last week. Yeah. We were. Man, I'm telling you, boy, I am tired as a horse from coming all the way from Texas. That was just. Man, too bad you guys couldn't see us record that. We really wish you were a horse on the wall for that one, because it was really.
Listen, I've flown all day. Boy, are my hooves tired.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's how it works. So this week, though, we are going to Fishkill, New York here, and I'm going to kind of veer away from the formula to give you some background information here. This Fishkill, New York is where, like, my dad's side of my family is from. Lived there forever, and, I went to high school. I lived here, so I know this place.
Fishkill, correct?
Fishkill, yes, right. Exactly. Fishkill, yeah, it's here we say it, kind of.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's like Gabagol. All of our cuz become guz. It's a New York thing, so... Anyway, this Fishkill, New York, it's in southeastern New York. It's about an hour from New York City, pretty much exactly an hour from New York City if you were to drive it. An hour and a half up to Albany if you went the other direction, and about 2 hours and 15 minutes to Belterre, New York, which was episode 174, our last New York show, Party Marty.
Yeah. Marty the Party!
That was a crazy, crazy-ass episode. So
I still hope he's doing great.
I know. I think he is. He's a lawyer now. He's got exonerated on his sports car plates. I think he's doing fine. So this is in Dutchess County, zip code 12524, area code 845. And if you notice this, I don't even have to look at the goddamn thing because this is just information I know. Motto here of this town, crossroads of the American colonies, which I can say as someone who, my grandparents lived here and I grew up around it, never once heard that. So I don't know. That's just on the on the literature, I guess. But I've never. No one ever says that.
Is it like Interstate 80 or something?
I mean, he'll explain it a little bit in the history, but still,
is it like a bridge?
No one's ever been at the grocery store and you're like doing stuff, and someone goes, "Excuse me," and they go, "What? Crossroads of the American colonies? What are you going to do?" And they like shuffle by. No one's ever done that. Never comes up. It's not on any signs around town or anything.
You're never in like a friend's car and you guys like drove through an intersection. His parents were like, "That's it right there. That's the crossroads."
Crossroads of the American colonies. That's what happens when you get in an accident. You just go, "That's all right. We're at the crossroads of the American colonies. What do you want?" Sometimes you get in accidents. It's a lot of roads.
Was it Fishkill, New York that Bone was singing about?
It's all possible, Jimmy. Or the lesser-known town motto that I have heard plenty because I might have invented it. Quote, "A good town to smoke weed behind the grocery store." I believe it's a tried and true one that I tested myself, and I can tell you it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So, name of this town, first of all, it's located in the area of the territory of what was the Wappinger people at the time, which that's Wappingers is the next town over, and that's named after them, of course. It started in 1685.
Good fuck.
So, shit is old in this place. The name, first of all, Fishkill, we should probably talk about.
Right.
The Dutch, it means it's fish. Fish is fish, and then kill meant stream or creek. There's there's the Fishkill Creek. So all the Catskills, all the kills here, that's because the Dutch named it. That's where their streams or creeks.
So it's the Cats River? That's what that is? Cats Creek?
Yeah, there was probably wild cats or some shit around there. That's what they called it. And that's how it worked. But not everybody realizes that. Or if they do, they're just... in 1996, PETA, who we know well here, they... asked the town to change its name to something,
fuck's sake,
quote, less suggestive of violence toward fish.
Boy. Oh, Christ.
I get it. You're an animal lover. I love animals. Let's say you're even like a PETA member and you have whatever. That's all fine and dandy. This is ridiculous. This is pushing it too far, I would say. It means it's ridiculous.
Fish are literally food.
Not only that, it doesn't mean that. What do you think? This is causing people to jump into the rivers and pull fish out with their bare hands and tear them gill from gill? The fuck is happening? No.
I don't know. Every time I hear that town name, I want to just go bare hand a salmon.
Right? Just want to stick your hand to catch it with your hand and just bash them against a rock.
I want to noodle some salmon.
I don't know what it is.
That organization's dumb as shit.
Yeah, well, in that particular case,
it's just dumb.
Some of the stuff is good, and then you get that, and you're like, come on. So the town said, no, thank you, because, that would be stupid.
Right.
So that was that. In 1714, Dutch immigrants settled the area. Yeah. So very old. It was apparently the village of Fishkill was a crossroads. There's a fucking word again.
Yeah.
In the overland transportation network, they say. So this connected New York City, Albany, through Connecticut to the ocean there, to the ports from Massachusetts. Everything kind of runs through here. If you look through, if you look like on a map, you'll see like 84, the Thruway, the Taconic. Those all kind of followed these paths from back then, except for the Taconic, which Roosevelt had built. But anyway, and the Hudson River's here too. So kind of all that shit goes through the Hudson River. So the New York Provincial Congress convened in Fishkill in May of 1776. And it became
just
one of
before freedom, James.
There you go. Fishkill became part of one of the largest colonial military encampments during the Revolutionary War. And George Washington's aide-de-camp, Alexander Hamilton, who you may have heard of if you're a Broadway fan or a history buff, but one of the two, he ended up living here for a long time. Fishkill is every 5 feet is one of these like New York State historical markers. You can't, every time Washington took a dump, it is cataloged.
Yeah.
And they made a whole, like an elementary school field trip about it.
Yeah.
Washington took a...
This is where his corniest one was.
His corny logs were here, mainly. This
one was his most mealy.
This is where his corniest logs fell. This is a more watery residence. Every time, I don't know what it was, but his stools were loose.
I think.
Area.
Did you say that's where internment camps were for like the World or the Civil War and such?
No. This is Revolutionary War military encampments. This is where all the Revolutionary War American soldiers were stationed. They would put them all here. So basically, whenever they dig anything up, they pull up not only shitloads of Native American, things, artifacts, but tons of like, cannonballs and shit like that. Anywhere you dig, if you dig in a 10-foot circle, you're going to find something that has to do with the Revolutionary War.
I love it.
It's the way it is. So the Trinity Church on Hopewell Avenue in the Village was organized in 1756 and used as a hospital during the Revolutionary War. Then the Dutch Reformed Church was used as a military prison. So they were like,
boy.
Which one's going to save people and which one's going to hurt people? Let's see. So, in 1871, they built a schoolhouse on Church Street, and the schoolhouse belonged to the Fishkill Reformed Church and was used as a pasture land for the pastor's cow. Then in 1876, a fire destroyed all of this shit. And they rebuilt it with brick structures that are still there.
Yeah.
So,
because they were the Three Little Pigs.
Yeah, all that shit burned down. Now, I know this because in the village of Fishkill, right by all of this, is my grandfather's barbershop. Mm-hmm. My grandfather's barbershop is right by where we're talking about. My grandfather, to tell you how kind of deep my roots run here, my grandfather... Well, my great-grandfather, his father, they immigrated here, and they came over from Italy in, like, the early 20s.
Right.
And then my grandfather was born in the mid-20s there. He fought in World War II, came back here, opened a barber shop, say, around 1950, this barber shop down there. He was the town barber. Like... might as well say it now because we're in a new studio here. It's very nice because I have to kind of be in two places at once here. So I got to be in Phoenix sometimes. I got to be in New York sometimes. So I came back and I kind of, I'm back in this area now in the Dutchess County area for family reasons. And it's fucking beautiful. Yeah. We'll talk about all that. But, anyway, the house I was looking at, my father went and looked at it for me, and the guy who owned it said, Pietragallo, you related to the barber? So, I mean, even now, and he retired in 1989. So they run really deep. I grew up not in Fishkill. That's where my grandparents lived, where my dad grew up, and I lived there during high school. But I grew up in the village of Wappingers nearby. And if you're from this area out there in podcast world, you'll know that is the trashiest, shittiest area in the area, basically. So I will make fun of everything because I'm Remsen Avenue trash. So take that. Exactly. I am, first time I bought weed was on Franklandale Avenue and it was dust and it wasn't weed because my friend's older brother played a trick on me. That's the kind of fucking area I'm from. This place
That's not a trick at all.
We were 13. That's a nice thing for an older brother. I think I'll give my 13-year-old brother and his friend dust.
Yeah.
That's nice, right?
That's a fucked up trick.
Yeah. I didn't mind it so much, but my other friend who smoked it had to go in a room and lay down for like 5 hours.
Oh, I'm
thought
sure.
He was going to die.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun, but that was another story. Anyway, don't do dust, kids. It's bad. But this is the type of area we're talking about.
Where were the Yankee internment camps? Weren't they up near that area? Do you know what I'm talking about? I feel like they were.
It's possible.
Because as your family has a positive reason for being there and a nice historical, like it's all family, not inbred.
I just came here.
Your roots are there, and that's where everybody's set. Like my family is buried there because they died in Yankee internment camps fighting for the wrong side of history.
Wow, well that's on them. No, not around here that I know of. That wasn't on the field trip stop tour, which I think it would have been otherwise. It was all the revolutionary, maybe like upstate, like Western New York or something here.
Hey, all you refined Italians, this is where white trash Whisman Maynards are buried.
Well, there's plenty of white trash up here too. Don't worry. There's plenty of everything up here, trash of all sorts. Like I said, so anyway, I grew up in the village, so I know trash is what I'm getting at. And if you know that, you'll go, wow, you no wonder why you do a show about trash, because you just went outside and went, what the fuck is going on here? What is happening here? So anyway, we'll get into this here. Now, here's some reviews of the town. Reviews here. I got some bad ones and some good ones. Some people love it. Here's the thing. Depends on what you're looking at and where you are in life, because it's beautiful around here. Like beautiful, like the Hudson River's beautiful. It's rolling hills and
the scenery is beautiful.
Places. The scenery is gorgeous. Like people come from fucking China to look at the leaves in the fall. Like literally, it's like in the top 5, leaf changing places of. It's ridiculous. So it's nice like that, but it's also
James. Imagine going to see leaves change and then seeing a 13-year-old smoking dust under the tree you're looking at.
Well, you wouldn't go to the Village of Wappingers to see leaves change either. You'd be like, hey, nice tree in your yard. Look at that. It looks half fucking dead. Why isn't it changing right? Hey, what's wrong with your tree? Oh, you gave it a bunch of dust there. Right now, I understand.
Have it lay down for a minute. It looks sick.
No. I'm from there. I lived right by Wagon Wheel Pizza, if you know, which, by the way, is still the best goddamn pizza there is there, Wagon Wheel. Check that out. So anyway, trashy. Here's some reviews, and then some of it's shit, like City of Poughkeepsie's pretty sketchy, and then Newburgh has the highest, which is directly across the river from Fishkill. It's where you could buy a nickel bag on the street, if you drive 5 minutes across the bridge.
Right.
Problem is, it's also like the highest murder rate in the United States, and that's. I'm not even shitting you. I saw the list of top 10 cities in New York, murder rate wise. It's double the South Bronx. I was like, holy fuck. What are we doing over here? I used to go there all the time when I was a kid. So here's 5-star review. Fishkill is a unique Hudson Valley town. Geographically diverse, ranging from riverside to mountains. Very safe place. Plenty of shopping and restaurants, conveniently located near I-84 and the Taconic Parkway. Minutes from the Hudson Line, Metro North, or Metro Station, the train station in Beacon. Close to New York City, right near Newburgh and Poughkeepsie. Nice place. That's a person who does well in life, probably. They probably have a good job in the city. See, that's the thing. There's 2 types of people that live here, and this will piss people off that live here, and I don't fucking care. Someone's going to burn my fucking house down by the end of this episode, put it that way. Between who I'll piss off when we talk about the murder and just pissing off the town, if nobody burns the house down, it's going to be a miracle, but I don't give a fuck. That's to show all you fucks down south that I don't care, goddamn. It has nothing to do with you. We just roast things. It's just how, even if it's against our safety.
There's also 4 feet of snow outside, so you'll be warm.
That's true. If
it does burn.
I can make an igloo, so I'm going to be fine. So, here's a 5-star. I've lived here my whole life. It's definitely changed a lot with the influx of Westchester and New York City people, but the area is still beautiful, especially around the fall and the changing of the leaves. The changing. 2 types of people work here, or live here. People who have a job in the city, or Westchester, Mount Kisco, somewhere like that, Tarrytown, they commute, Connecticut, somewhere like that, and, they make good money there, and instead of living around there, they come here where it's cheaper and they just drive an hour. There's those types of people. They make real good money. They do fine. Then there's people who grew up here, people like me, and people who, like my family, you're either lucky, like my brother who got a job with the Metro North Railroad, so he has a good career, or there's also HVAC. You know what I'm saying? So and there's nothing wrong with HVAC, but if that's if that's your the reaching for the star, maybe the place is fucked up, is what I'm getting at. If that's the star you're reaching for,
it's a closer star. It's a much closer star than many others. It's
a grabbable star, is what I'm getting at.
The way to set your reach.
And I never understood it with people here, because I'm like, you're an hour from fucking New York. You're right there. You can go 5 minutes to the train and get on it. You can
go trade stocks, man.
Do anything. People come from they crawl out of caves somewhere in the earth to fucking somehow get to New York. York to have opportunity, and it's right there, and you're like, I don't know, there's HVAC. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like I said, nothing wrong with HVAC. My cousin does very well with it. I'm not saying it's
you
bad.
You make a lot of money doing it.
Or wrong. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I'm not disparaging that at all. So here's 2 stars here. This is kind of honest. Quote, most of the jobs are set in stone. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. You got to like know somebody, and everything here is like bribery related and like
bit of nepotism.
A lot of that going on. My mom has been trying to get a job up here for 3 years so she wouldn't have to travel back and forth between the city and home every day. She still has not heard back from any of the jobs she's applied for at all. Wow, 3 years. That might be a mom problem and not a
single
problem.
job? That seems very, very...
3 years. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
It sounds like the problem is hyper-focused somewhere.
I think there's something else here.
Maybe your mom goes into interviews and tells people, fuck off, when do I start?
Yeah. Hey, listen, fucking...
I'm in for the job. When do I start, motherfucker?
Yeah. Does she call people cocksucker upon the interview? Well, she hasn't been in an interview. She hasn't heard back from any of the jobs she applied for at all. None of them. They haven't even said, we're not interested.
Right.
They ignored her. Is there like a murder threat on her resume? Yeah. What the fuck is she doing? She burned my last office to the ground, but you know.
Where's she applying?
I wish I know.
Is there a no hire list somewhere like flying?
Apparently. And well, her stepdad, though, luckily, my stepdad had to work a full year before Toyota took him on full time.
Those are tough gigs, man. When you got to do like a temporary job, that's brutal.
That's tough.
They treat you like dog shit. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, you do. You get treated like shit, and they can fire you at any time, and you have no benefits. And
go along to get along and smile and take it in the ass every day.
All right, then.
Good
and
God.
They drag it on so they can mess with you.
The torture.
We've been there. Here's 3 stars. Quote, there's nothing here, but it's still better than Beacon. That's a fact, actually. Beacon's the next town over, which has turned into a hipster enclave somehow.
Oh, no.
They call it Little Brooklyn now. It's like, if you've been priced out of that, you can just move to Beacon. It's right by the river. It's right by the train station there. It's all art galleries and shit. Now, when I was a kid, it was a horrible place. Yeah. Like Main Street in Beacon, I know a kid who got shot in the face selling crack out there. Literally on the block selling crack. They had all the probation offices were on there. Beacon Sneaker was there, which was actually great for sneakers. Kennedy's Fried Chicken. It was it wasn't a real safe place anyway.
Right. Shot in the face selling crack that's just a job hazard, man. That's it's like an electrician missing fingers. It's gonna happen.
I got a little buzzed last night. I got a shock to me. So here's one. I've lived in this is 3 stars. I've lived in Fishkill my whole life, and while it's a sleepy little town, it has access to abundance of things to do, a short drive or train ride away. Okay? Mm-hmm. And here is 3 stars. We have people come and go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's generally... That's how places work generally. They come, they go, they live, they die, they're born. Yeah. That's life. The sun comes up and then it sets. It's weird. And here's 3 stars. Quote, would not want to live here anymore.
Wouldn't. Wait, that's a very strange one.
They're out. So population's kind of gone up and down a little bit here. I know, like in the 90s when I went to high school here was when it was kind of at its shittiest, and the population declined a lot. Mm-hmm. And then after 9/11, more people moved up here.
Get out of the city. Yeah,
that's how that worked. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now the town, like the village and town of Fishkill, the other thing to understand here, back here, all the towns are like a village, a town, an east, a this, a that. So like Wappingers has village and town of Wappingers. Fishkill has village of Fishkill, town of Fishkill, East Fishkill, all kind of different things. So,
okay.
Like the village of Fishkill has like 2,000 people in it, but we're going to do things based on East Fishkill, town of Fishkill, everything Fishkill here.
Okay.
So 23,508 people in that town. It's counted as part of both the Newburgh, Poughkeepsie, Middletown population area and also the New York, city metropolitan statistical area.
Yeah.
So they count it as far as like New York City metropolitan area when they do population. More males than females by a little bit. No idea why that is. We've driven the females away is all I can think, because I know a lot of guys here, and A lot of them are jerk off. So if I was a woman, I'd move too.
Yeah, it's hard to stick around and want to live there when your little brother's under a tree on dust.
I wasn't under a tree.
Yeah.
I was at a New Year's Eve party at the Imperial Tower thing there, Imperial Garden behind the Route 9 shopping center in Wappingers there back behind that shit. A really shitty place that the hallways look like the fucking Shining, and it was really fucking
terrific.
Yeah. So it's a little older. 41 and a half is the median age here, so slightly older. Married population and all that shit's kind of right on the money with everywhere else. Race of this town is almost an exact United States racial breakdown.
Yeah.
Normally, white is 61.5%. Here it is 62%. Black 11.5%. Black people here in the country, it's 12.3%.
Okay.
So it's all right there. 6.9% Asian. It's normally 5.3%. 16.1% Hispanic. It's normally 17.6%. So it's a very good representation that way anyway, demographically. About 54% of the people here are religious, but based on the fact that 37.8% of them are percent of them are Catholic, because Catholics are the Baptists of the North, as we know.
Of course, yeah.
I can tell you that they're not real into it.
Okay.
This is a casual religion, basically. 0.8% Jewish. Damn it, we just missed it.
So close
To a Hava Nagila. Maybe next time. 2.4% Islam. You know what? Fuck it. In Dutchess County, 47.5% of the people voted Democrat in the last election. 47.2% voted Republican in the last election. 5.3% independent.
Right up the middle. That's wild.
It's very right down the middle. Unemployment rate's about the same with the rest of the country. Median household income, though, is high because a lot of the people work in the city and make a shitload of money. So it's a kind of it's a have and have not system going on here. Median household income $82,946, which is usually $57,000.
Yeah.
Not bad. Almost twice as many people make over $200,000 as normal also.
Mm-hmm.
You get that group. The cost of living, 100 being regular, average, par. Here it is 118, so a little bit high. Housing's a 129. Mm-hmm. A little bit high. Median home cost here, $297,500.
Welcome to New York.
There you go. And the taxes are rough too. But people there's a story that I was reading about people who moved here from the city. The one guy's like a dentist and all this shit, and he was like, wow, we bought a 4,500 square foot house for $575,000, and it was $2 million for a 1,200 square foot apartment in the city. Yeah. He's got an acre of land. He's like, that's why people come here. So if we've convinced you that you need to come to Fishkill, New York, and maybe do some HVAC, we have for you the
or
Fishkill
dust.
Or dust, either one. We have some HVAC. Choice. Get dusted and do HVAC. We have for you the Fishkill, New York Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here goes for about $1,475, which is higher than normal. That's steep. I found a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 900 square foot condo. It's nice. It looks like redone and shit like that. $155,000.
Okay,
that's about as cheap as you're getting in anywhere here, unless you go get a trailer.
That's very doable, though.
It's not bad. It's a small little place, though. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,310 square feet. It's a decent family home, but it's really fucking purple. Like extra purple, like a weird, very strange purple color. But it recently had a price increase of $10,000.
Oh!
Which you don't see a lot.
Price is going up.
Yeah, people apparently, since COVID, a lot of people are moving here from the city because they don't have to work at where they work anymore. They can do it from home.
Also, there's a lot of demand to live in a house the same color as Shaq's dickhead.
Well, that's what you want, really. That's what I look at. I usually, every place I've had, I bring Shaq in just to do a color
Shaq
test.
You
got to jerk him a little bit, just to get the blood flowing.
Get the blood in there.
That's, it is what it is.
And then I
found a 4-bedroom, 5-bath T-bowl for each and every beehole.
Hell yeah.
5,705 square foot, huge giant brick nice, beautiful house on 1 acre of land, $710,000.
That's a deal. That's doable.
It's real nice. So it's a nice
5,500 square foot house.
Yeah,
for $700,000.
It's really nice. It's just one of those neighborhoods that they've made recently where they clear all the trees. So even though you live in a place that's naturally has shitloads of trees, your yard has none. Or like 2 saplings, and it's like, why didn't you just leave some of the ones that were fucking here?
Thought we moved here for the leaves changing. Why
do we do this?
I don't get why they do.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
That things to do, and sorry we're going a little long on the town, but I'm from here, so I'm gonna have to break its balls a little bit hard here.
Also, you've got a little more knowledge. It's firsthand knowledge.
That's the thing here. So the Town of Fishkill Fall Festival I found here.
Oh yeah, we love these.
Oh, these are always fun. Join us at Gearing Park, which I'll tell you about in a moment, for hay rides, bouncy castle, pumpkin patch, face painting, and more. It's ideal. They're made for kids from kindergarten to 6th grade. Kids, wear your Halloween costumes or bring a trick-or-treat bag.
Fuck.
Do that. Now, also what you can do is get really fucked up on acid, rob the concession stand at Gearing Park, get arrested and do a year in prison for it, because I also saw that happen. Because my friend did that. Gearing Park, by the way, the hardest rims of any basketball court I've ever played on in my entire fucking life. Anyone from here will know, if the ball so much as grazes the rim, it will shoot off of the court. Like, it's not even like it's gone. Yeah. It'll shoot over the chain. It's fucking gone, dude. So it's awful.
It takes 3 weeks to run a game of 15.
You could have great players and everyone's dying. And you're like, 3-1, your ball. Like, you can't do it. And the rims are like 10 foot 3.
Weeks, you guys.
And the rims are like 10-3 also. So
what the fuck?
And in addition to that, the court isn't like concrete or asphalt. It's like tennis court. Mm-hmm. So if it's even moist a drop, you'll kill yourself. I slipped and almost broke. I fucked my ankle up so bad on my 16th birthday playing there. Awful place. Anyway, I've told the story in bits and pieces, but I'll tell it here. Yeah. My friends, I won't mention their names, got high. They were on acid. We were like 16. I wasn't with them this night. I think I was delivering pizza maybe or something. So they got real fucked up on acid and decided they were going to rob the Ames department store, which was like a department store that my friend lived right next to in his neighborhood there. Like his house bordered the parking lot. So they were like, it was after hours. They were going to break in through the roof, and I don't know what. Right? They didn't have a plan. They were on acid.
I just want to see the inside.
That's it. Let's see it when it's dark. So one of the friends apparently was still coherent enough to go, an alarm will go off and we'll get arrested. We shouldn't do that. Let's go somewhere easier to do this. So they ended up at the concession stand at Gearing Park.
Those rarely have alarms.
Which is a garage door on a shed, basically, is what this is, where they put a cash register and sell Snickers bars and shit out of there. That's all it is.
Yep.
So they went in there, they stole all of the concessions, which is giant leaf, garbage yard waste bags full of fucking candy, lugging them through it, right? But they were wasted, so they left the garage door open. So when a cop came and did their rounds, they saw the garage door was open, saw it had been broken into, went looking for them. Long story short, in the village of Fishkill, right across, right there on 52, where there's a pizza place and all this shit, there's a big sign, and my friends were hiding behind the sign, and my friend goes, I'll go check if the cops are coming. As he walked out, he had a big thing of Spree candy in his hand.
Right.
And as he stepped out, 3 cop cars came right up to him when he's standing there with the Spree. Anyway, he got arrested. One guy ended up
were they at least the chewy ones?
I don't think so.
The chewy ones are the only ones worth a fuck.
They're pretty good.
The other ones are terrible.
My friend did a year in prison for this because he had a record, and he was like one of the carny that they took in, Satanic Bill I told you about. Yeah, that guy. Right. So he did a year in jail. He sent like threatening letters to my friend from prison that he was going to kill him. And then he got out and just moved back into his basement, and it was really weird. So that's the type of shit that goes on here.
Fantastic.
Every place is trash, is what I'm fucking telling you. So when I make fun of somewhere, it's because it sucks. And if you live there and you like it, it's because every place has good things too. But they also suck.
Yeah.
But it's not fun to go, yeah, it's pretty. Okay, great. Well, that's a comedy show? No. It's fun to talk about this shit.
Right.
So that's what we're doing. So crime rate in this town, what we're interested in here, property crime is about 25% under the national average. Not bad. And violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime is about 1/3 of the average of normal. So pretty safe in Fishkill, actually, which is hilarious because holy shit, you just drive across the bridge and you're in the murder capital of... It's so weird. Newburgh's, right? You think they get hit by a stray over in Fishkill once in a while or something. So anyway, that said, let us talk about a murder.
Let's do that.
Let's do it, Jimmy. Okay, and we'll get into this as we go here. Let's go back to January the 19th, 2007.
Yeah.
Shall we? So not
Housing
too far
crisis
back.
in full swing.
Let's do it. Well, not yet. I think it just didn't even pop yet, I think. It was
2007?
just about to explode.
Was it
January
2008? Yeah.
So it's, anyway, this is 3:20 a.m. on a Friday morning, January 19th, 2007. 3:20 a.m., on Route 82 in Fishkill, to be exact, 203 Route 82 in Fishkill, in the town of Fishkill. A driver driving by it, a woman, calls the fire department and reports a house heavily engulfed in flames, according to the fire department. And firefighters went there, obviously to put it out. Right. They just went to take a look.
Right. Really?
Like,
I've never seen that shit.
I love a good fire.
Yeah.
Who's got you? You didn't get Hershey's. Well, what's that's not a s'more, Chet. It's not a s'more.
Well, that's just marshmallows and graham cracker. That's gross. Nobody wants
anything. We need the pop of the chocolate in here.
Nobody ever wants that.
You know what? I'm sorry. You're demoted. I'm sorry. No, not in rank. You just don't get to slide down the pole anymore. I'm sorry. And then you don't get to pet the dog. No, Sparky, get away from him. No, he doesn't get to pet. Don't you get a treat? No.
Next house fire, you go in without the mask. That's happening.
Sorry.
You're going.
We have one less, so whoever's the asshole that week, you know how it works.
You're it.
You're the guy. So, the fire department gets there. They try to put it out. It's a blazer, too. I mean, it's going. Yeah. Once it's put out, the house is pretty much destroyed. I mean, it's not anything that's salvageable. It's a pile of rubble. It's that bad. About 3:35 a.m., there is a report of a car fire less than a mile from this house as well.
Oh.
So this is
close. We'll stop by on the way back. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot going on at 3:20 a.m. on Route 82 here. So the car is a purple Kia. What's up with the purple?
Honestly.
Too much purple.
What kind of Kia? An SUV or a little car?
I think it's a car. It's a Kia car. Yeah, it's not an SUV. I'm not sure what model, but when we talk about Kia cars, does it really matter what model it is?
They're all shit. Sophia, Optima, whatever.
They're all the same. So, it's a purple Kia, which through some quick deduction, they find out the people who live in that house, or were in that house, that their car is a purple Kia.
Oh,
so that the car is linked to the house very quickly. Okay, that's from there, but it's like a mile away. It's not like it caught on fire from the house.
Yeah,
then drove itself a mile away.
Rolled downhill.
It just rolled. It's tried to get away from the fire.
Came out of the garage.
Help me! Beep beep beep. Just going off on it. So the about 4:20 a.m. So almost an hour after they get there, almost an hour it takes to get the house fire under control, which it's a long time. When they finally get it under control and they start to push through the rubble a little bit, they realize that this isn't just a house fire at all. This is something way bigger. This is a cover-up of something completely different, and the fire is a completely secondary thing. Oh, no. And they make about the most grisly discoveries you can make, and we will get into that in just a moment. But before that, we have to go back in time a little bit.
Okay.
Here. December of 2006 we have to go to. So
just a couple of months earlier. Yeah.
A month and a half earlier, 2 months earlier, in November into December 2006. Let's talk about some people. Let's talk about Manuel Mori the third.
Oh,
the third, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 lineage too.
Oh boy,
as we'll talk about, because his son is the fourth.
Jesus Christ.
Absolutely, and he is the son of Manuel Mori Jr.
Yeah.
So this is a straight third. He goes by Tony, though. Tony Mori. Nobody calls him Manuel.
I would, too.
Yeah. He's about 33 years old.
Manuel to Tony? How the fuck did that happen?
It's easier. Yeah. I'll just be Italian, I guess. I don't know. I mean, fuck
is
it,
Manuel is that an Italian name? Is he an Italian guy?
Not usually, but
that's usually a Spanish, Mexican.
Yeah, Tony is just
Latin American of some sort.
Tony is just kind of universal back here. Just if you have, because I know a lot of that's the thing. Like if you got like a foreign guy who's doing something, you don't even know what country he's from. You're like, what's your name? Tony. You're like, your name isn't Tony. I know your name's not Tony.
My name's Jimmy. People call me Raphael.
Yeah.
What?
People call me Eduardo, but only like that. They really, you have to roll the R or else fuck you. That's my normal name. So, he is 33 years old. So he is a few years older than me. All of these people that we're going to talk about in this story went to the same high school as me at different times.
Okay.
This guy I went to school with him. He was like a senior when I was his freshman or something of that nature. Mm-hmm. But I don't know him. I didn't know him. And then his wife was my age at this point, maybe a year older than me. She was 29 or 30 here. And she also went to John Jay. So John Jay High School is well represented here, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
This is all the worst John Jay can conjure, and very, very embarrassing for the alumni. I should probably make a donation after I fucking do this episode, but I won't, because the school really did nothing for me. I didn't even fucking graduate. There wasn't heat in half the classrooms. It was a swamp around there. Tons of kids I know got cancer and died when they were 25 because it's in between 5 IBM plants with giant high tension wires all around it. It's a fucking horrible place. So you know what?
And who is John Jay? Who is that guy?
He was in the revolutionary thing. There's also John Jay.
He's a founder?
Legal College in New York City. So a lot of John Jay stuff back here.
Okay.
Bewigged douchebag, Jimmy. That's just we'll go with that. So everything back here is all bewigged douchery.
Or a hacky radio guy.
Either way.
Yeah.
Either way. So, Tony Mori III, like I said, he's 33 in 2006. His wife, Tina Mori, her maiden name was Kohler. She is 30 at this point as well. They live on Route 82 in Fishkill. Mm-hmm. So they have 3 kids at this point in time.
Christ.
They've been married a while. They have a family here. Tony, OG Tony here, the third, he was born in 1973, born in Poughkeepsie, Vassar Hospital, like every asshole from here is all born at Vassar Hospital. And he, as we'll talk about, he's recently, in 2006, he quit his job.
Yeah.
He couldn't stand the grind anymore, Jimmy. Couldn't do it.
I feel you, buddy.
He is, at this point, a, quote, self-employed fence installer. So this is what the fuck I'm talking about.
It's just him and Craigslist.
Yes. This is why I moved away immediately, because I'm like, if I stay here, I can be a self-employed fence installer. And actually, I even had like a nepotistic in. My dad's friend is an electrician, and he offered when I was like 18 right before I moved, to let me be an apprentice. You know, so I would have been in the union. I would have maybe been making $100,000 a year by the time I was 25. But I thought to myself, that will be my life forever. And at 18, I can't fucking do that. I am leaving this place. I can't. I just can't do it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because that's a great living and a great career, but that's not what wasn't my dream.
It's a tough gig too, man.
That's a tough gig, and where is there room for like comedy, which was always my dream, and all that shit? Not a lot of room for that here.
And you got to be up at like 5 in the morning to be at the yard at 6.
It's not my style.
To go do, and you got to be alert, James, at 6 a.m. It's not just awake. I mean, electrician shit. Yeah.
I can do this on 100 milligrams of edible. I wouldn't suggest electricity work.
No, you don't want to be landing primary voltage.
Probably not.
At 6 a.m. stoned.
And that's what I would have been doing, because that's just how my brain works. So it's better. It worked out better. Put it that way. It's more like you got to leave to come back type of thing. So, he quits his job. He's a fence installer. He's doing his thing. He also likes the outdoors, as we'll talk about. He's always riding around four-wheelers and shit.
Oh,
he's always got
big fan of the leaves changing. This guy.
He loves the leaves. He likes to rip through the woods as the leaves change, tear up the trails.
Yeah.
Him and his kids are always on ATVs, and Route 82 in that area behind all those houses is a shitload of woods, basically. Okay. It's a lot of woods in this East Fishkill area. This is kind of out. John Jay High School kind of has a couple different classes, basically. We had, if you were like from the Village of Fishkill side of things, that meant you were trash. We were the trash people over there. And the people who lived out in Hopewell, there was a lot of rich kids that lived out there.
Yeah.
So it was very, very odd. Like, you had kids who were pretty fucking, having hard times mixed with people who were very, very wealthy, like a lot of high schools. But it's just, it was interesting here. This is kind of in the middle. There's some, whatever. So he's got a wife, Tina, like we talked about. She, at this time, has also, her career path also very upwardly mobile. And I use that word mobile because she works at the Fishkill Mobil station as a cashier.
Yeah.
That is a gas station. If they don't have mobile in other countries, I don't know. But yes, that's... I'm sorry.
Mad mobile. Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's upwardly mobile here. I got a job at Mobile. That's what that means. Excited
also
for me?
Also a tough gig, man. Jesus. Gas station work is so fucking horrifying.
I know people that worked at the exact station she worked at. The good thing, when I lived back here in high school, and basically during then, you knew people that worked at like 12 gas stations, every fast food place, so you didn't pay for anything as a teenager. You just...
We'd go get the hookup on gas? What?
Not gas. Gas was the only thing you had to pay for. Everything else, but kids would come in with like a stolen credit card, and you would pay them half on the thing, and that's how we'd get gas. But anyway, I shouldn't give up all my secrets, but... We would just go in and pillage these places. We'd just go in and just leave with as much as we could carry and be like, bye.
It's Italian Vikings just taking everything.
Jesus Christ, dude. The movies, we just walk in and it was ridiculous. Anywhere. Fast food. I had a friend that worked at KFC. He was the big chicken. He used to slip us a bucket full of fucking all sorts of chicken and shit. He'd be dancing around. You go out there and he'd slip it to you from under his thing. I'm telling you.
My uncle did that in Colorado. He used to take me to his ex-girlfriend's Popeyes, and she just drop a bucket of chicken out the window at like 11 o'clock at night when they're closing because they don't want to throw it out.
Yeah, you have to do it at the end of the night when they were divvying up the leftover chicken.
But he'd call her and be like, hey, you guys are about to close. Throw some more down. So she'd
we did the
she'd
same
make a
thing.
shitload of chicken right before they're about to close.
We did the same shit, man. That was...
And I handed it to the white trash and the Chevette in the drive-thru.
Oh, God. To us, it was my 85 Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra with fucking smoke pouring out of the windows.
Yeah.
Now,
my uncle's Chevette, you had to pump the brakes to stop. Sweet Christ, awesome. If the light turned yellow, the fear in his face. We're about to blow this light.
Oh, my God. I had a steering rack problem in my Oldsmobile. If you don't know what that is, that would be like if you're turning, it would just stop. The wheel would stop turning. So when you're going around a turn and you're turning and then the wheel stops turning and you're careening toward...
Hopefully it's enough radius. Hopefully got it.
That was my car. It was,
or mash on the gas and fishtail it.
Either one. Just fuck it. Might as well shoot myself into the trees. So... That's the other thing. To give you some credentials as I make fun of the area more, I lived on Remsen Avenue in Wappingers. I lived on West Main Street right on the corner in the village of Wappingers. If you're from the area, the Playhouse fucking theater across the street from there, that was my bus stop in 6th and 7th grade. That's where I sat on the steps of the theater was my bus stop. I lived in fucking Woodhill Green, shitty apartments. I lived in fucking Montclair. You guys know where the fuck that is? More shitty apartments.
Yeah.
I lived in fucking people's basements. I lived in Cherry Hill in Poughkeepsie. I lived in fucking, holy crap. I have a list of like 40 places I lived before the age of 12. It was a disaster. So anyway.
Why was your dad running?
No, I was my mom. My dad had like 4 places over the course of this. He was pretty stable.
Who was she running from?
I don't fucking know, but we were everywhere. I'll tell you that much. So, and in terms of schools, like I went to Fishkill, then I went to Knoxon Road. I went to fucking Evans for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. I went to fucking Wappingers Junior High, so I can make fun of that dump shithole also, which is still a cool looking building. So anyway, back to this one. Tina here, the wife, Tina, she likes to cook and bake and shit like that. So she's apparently a very gregarious person. Everybody seems to like her. She was born in Nyack, actually. She's like 2 years older than me. She's born in Nyack. She kind of has been bouncing from cashier job to cashier job. Most recently, like I said, the mobile in Fishkill with her upward mobility. And, people like her. Now, they have 3 sons as well.
Oh, boy.
At this point, they have a 13-year-old who is Tony Morey IV.
Right.
Yeah, I got to keep it going. He goes to Van Wyck Junior High. He's a Van Wyck kid. I was a Wappingers kid, so that's if you lived in East Fishkill, Hopewell, you went there. If you lived in Wappingers or Village of Fishkill, Town of Fishkill, you went to Wappingers. I think he was on the football. He played football and that sort of shit. So he also on the wrestling team. So he was an athletic, into sports kid here at the time. His brother, Adam, who is 10 years old at this time here, he goes to Brinkerhoff Elementary, and he's a big basketball player at this time. Real into the ATV thing with his dad and shit like that. Family likes to do that. Then they have a 6-year-old as well. Man, 6, 10, and 13 boys.
It's a lot.
That's you need 4-wheelers and woods just to knock the starch out of them. I mean, that's like...
Yeah, but the good thing is they're probably barely buying clothes. They're just buying clothes for the big kid and then just shuttling it down the line as the other ones grow into them.
That's true. They're spaced out enough where it would, still be... It's not like one kid has bell bottoms and then it's 1985 and the other kid has like Jordashes or something. Right. It's not to that. They're close enough in fashion where it still works.
Yeah.
It's still...
Couple of years, whatever.
Yeah, fucking whatever video game they're into probably got a part 2. It's the same characters. Star Wars is still fine.
Yeah.
All that shit. So, they have 3 kids, though, and they live at 203 Route 82, which should sound familiar. That is the address of that fire.
It's a little warm there,
will happen. Now, they are, at the time of the fire, they are in the process of being evicted, which is interesting. The landlord, a guy named Tom Scarva with 2 A's.
Yep.
Tom Scarva. How you doing? Tommy Scarva here.
Yeah.
He says that they stopped paying rent in November, haven't paid rent since November 1st, so they didn't pay their December or January rent, and they were in the process of being evicted. And he said that they appeared to have been financially struggling in recent months since Tony has quit his job and gone into the self-fence installment business.
Yeah.
This is here, which for some reason, self-employed fence installer, I know it's not. It just means you have your own business, but it sounds like you're putting in fences unsolicited.
Yeah.
Like, no one asked you to. You come home from work and there's like 3/4 of a fence up and there's a bunch of guys pounding posts in. You're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Or there's just one sweaty guy with a business card saying, send the check here.
He's got like 2 sections of fence in. He's like, I'll finish the job, I swear. Just please.
I'm almost done. Just pay up. They're like, I didn't ask for that.
I'm self-employed, though. This is what I do. I don't know why that sounds
like that. I'm just a fence installer. I just do this.
This is what I do. I mean, you got to be. You don't want a fence. You don't want a fence installed. You put a fence in to keep me out. Otherwise, what are you doing?
This is on you. This is on you as much as it is me.
I mean, yeah. By the way, if you want to put that fence in, I happen to know a guy. Just saying. Either way,
I'll fence myself out if you like.
That's what I mean. I'll fence myself out. I'll fence you in. I'll fence whatever you want. Put your dog down. I'll build a fence around him. I don't care. That's what I'm trying to fucking tell you. What are we doing? I'll fence your car in. What? Do you want a garden? I'll put 10-foot fences around it. He's just ready to fence. I don't know what it is. So you want to get yourself a sword? We'll fence like that.
Right.
I do any kind of fencing that you could possibly need. I got this.
Tell you what, here's your sword, here's mine. We're going to fence, and whoever wins gets to build the fence.
Whoever wins gets to decide about the fence. What do you say? By the way, I have some stolen goods in case you. I got some watches in case you want.
Yeah, if you can get rid of these, then you can be the fence.
And you could be the fence. What I'm saying is, I deal in fences. That's my main. That's my whole thing.
I realize you're probably on the fence about this.
I'm understanding this. I get it. But I think you just want to take your brain and climb over that fence into the yard of beauty and understanding of what the fuck I'm talking about. I got a fence for you. So
put this hat on. I realize it's a fez and this is a stretch, but put it on anyway.
Jesus Christ. I love it. So keep your horses in also if we can incorporate last week. If only that guy met this guy, everything would be perfect.
Yeah.
So were they good tenants? Him especially? What do you think, Jimmy?
They're 60 days behind. That's not good in the first place. But Mr. Scarpo does not fuck around. Scarpa? Doesn't matter. You fuck with that man and his money. 60 days is the most you're getting. You're getting the fuck out of my place.
Scarpa will get you out.
So they're 60 days behind. They probably have been late every single month, too.
Well, let's see what Tom Scarva has to say about it.
Oh, Tommy.
Quote, he wasn't the best tenant. Okay, well, the question answered. There you are.
Was he the best tenant? No. Next question.
No. He tore up the yard with his quad. He said that he and his wife threw parties on the front lawn every weekend last summer.
Ew.
On the front lawn? What are you doing? By the way, I must tell you, 82 is like a main road. Like 52 goes up out of Fishkill, and then 82 breaks off of it and goes into Hopewell and East Fishkill and shit. It's like a main road. There's only these 2 roads that go into that area.
Right.
So for you to be partying on the front lawn, you're partying just like in like a steady stream of everybody that goes from Fishkill to East Fishkill, passing by your house, looking at this whole thing. That's why you go in the backyard. This isn't like in a neighborhood. This is right on the main street.
Just flagging people down. Want to come to our party?
Then they probably are.
Yeah.
And they're not like 500 yards from the road or anything, too. It's like, 30 feet from the road is the house. It's just, they're just hanging out in the front yard. So, quote, every weekend in the summer they would have parties, and it would be a running joke how many cases of beer would be left outside the house.
Oh, that's gross.
So you're getting the picture, right? Then he says, quote, whenever I would see him, speaking of Tony Maury, he would never look me in the eyes. It was odd. He said that he always wore a black leather jacket, white T-shirt, and black leather boots.
Okay.
He says, the landlord says, quote, he seemed like a throwback to the 50s and a Fonzarelli wannabe. Obviously referring to Fonzie from Happy Days.
This is landlord?
What the I mean, he knows him, I guess. He's been keeping an eye out. Look at him drinking beer, looking like Fonzie. He's drinking beer. He's looking like Fonzie. This fucking guy over here.
Standing on his patio, just kicking the jukebox.
I'm going to call the Poughkeepsie Journal and tell them about it. But he did get the jukebox working again. So, you know what?
That was impressive.
And that is a pretty fence he built around the yard. I will say that. I didn't ask him to do it or nothing, right. But it's not bad. I'm going to be honest with you. So, Jesus Christ. Now, also, in early January of 2007, Patty Gersh, who was a gas station clerk working with Tina, she said that Tina had told her that they were planning on, or that Tina was planning on leaving her husband and taking the kids to Virginia.
Oh.
So that's the plan. This is
fellow clerks, that shit?
I guess they're very close when you work with someone at a gas station. I mean, I've worked at a gas station.
Yeah.
I worked at when I first moved to Phoenix, I worked at the Chevron at Cave Creek and Greenway.
Did you really? Yeah. Where you were making making 6-packs out of cases.
Sawed off 12 packs is what they are. Which is take a razor blade and literally saw a 12-pack in half. And then make sure you hold it upright so the cans don't spill out.
Here you go, sir. What the fuck is this? Get out of my store.
It's $2 more than half a case costs. That's what it is. So...
And there's no top on that, so watch your step.
Absolutely.
And there is no plastic around each of those cans. Those shits are going all over your floorboard.
You know it's happened. The cop's going to pull you over. I worked the overnight there some nights.
God damn it, James.
I had a 357 under the counter. I was not fucking around. It was crackhead.
Yeah, that place, that's a tough neighborhood, man.
No fucking around over there. So it was rough.
Although that's a very nice gas station for that neighborhood. Like everything was inside was put together. Yeah, it was a classy place. It's very bizarre.
Machine. What more do you want?
Exactly. Certainly misplaced is what that place is.
Now they put that QT. Never mind. They put a QT there to scare the shit out of those employees.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's going to leave her kids, leave her husband, take the kids to Virginia. That's the plan. She's going to leave Tony. Doesn't say why this is happening. She just gives like a heads up. Like, if you don't see me in a week, it's because I took the kids and took the fuck off, right?
Yeah, well, the landlord has already described a nightmare situation that I would want out of.
I would say so. And also, Tony is described by pretty much everyone around as a, quote, low-level crack dealer as well. So this is... Which... That's the other thing I need to bring up, and that's the elephant in this room of this place, is drugs are fucking rampant here. And I'm not talking about like the new, the opiates of the last 5 years. I'm talking in the 90s, crack was fucking enormous here. In the 2000s, crack, not meth, crack. Coke, crack, real coke, It's right by New York City. You can get all the coke you want. You don't need to get meth. No one needs to go make anything. It's pouring in everywhere. So... this is a very, very cracky area, and there's a lot of people who do, and I'm not saying this because people I don't know, but people I do know and did know who are like blue-collar people that supplement their income in a place with a little higher cost of living and taxes by this sort of shit on the side.
Dealing crack.
This is very normal for someone to like own a construction company or be like a plumber or this or that, and they sell coke.
Wow.
That's... really, really normal, like guys who are just, work straight jobs, but they do that to make a little extra, to make a living. That's right. I mean, watch Goodfellas. Like if you want an explanation, it's there for the taking. So they do it. And the crack situation here, like when I was a teenager, and I'm saying this because these people and more people we're going to talk about went to high school with me, so this is relevant to how they came up and what causes all this shit is I'll tell you a story. I remember I was hanging out at my friend's house. It was Wheaton Avenue in the village of Fishkill right there. And his family was pretty fucked up, and he's a great fucking guy, too. Awesome guy, crazy fucked up family. Crackhead in there in the mix and all this type of shit. We're hanging out in the basement. You're allowed to smoke weed in his house. That was the kid. So, you know that house?
Yeah.
He's 15, but you're allowed to smoke weed inside.
It's very strange.
And it's never a good situation either. It's always bad.
And the mom can't smell it because she's either smoking a cigarette right now or she's also smoking weed.
Oh, yeah, no, her boyfriend would try to take bets on football games from us and and then if you'd win, he'd be like, well, I'll give you an eighth of weed. And you'd be like, no, that's not worth $30. That's what you sell it for. But it's not what it's worth. Give me $30 and I'll go buy my own.
Right.
So yeah, he would try to scam teenagers like that and shit. He was a scumbag. So anyway, one day we're all hanging out in the basement smoking weed, and one of my friends who I won't name, and Satanic Bill, who I just say that because it's just a moniker, just a name that we called him. Mm-hmm. They come in and they say, hey, you guys want to do something? And we're like, sure. And then they start smoking crack. Okay. No. So I'm like, I'm not smoking crack. That smells terrible. And I had done coke once in my life before that, and it was the most horrific experience. I'm high. I'm up there enough. I don't need anything to take me to another level. I'm fine. I need weed to knock me down 3 pegs to keep me reasonably crazy, but not to that level. So they start smoking crack, but they're all doing it in the open, having fun. They're laughing. Yeah. 3 days later, I come back. They are in a blanketed off corner of the basement, smoking crack and whispering. 3 days it took to get to that. No. That's just the progression of it in 3 days. Later on that week, they were coming in with cigarette machines and payphones, cracking them open for the quarters. They tried to pour the metal to make a key to make a master key for payphones, Jimmy.
Tried to smelt a key?
They got it down, but they couldn't get a metal that was hard enough that wouldn't crack when you turned it. That wouldn't break off. But they actually smelted a fucking... That's how crazy these people are, crackheads.
Christ.
Crackheads.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I'm not above knowing these types of people or anything like that. So I'm not trying to punch down or, shoot from an upper floor by any stretch of the fucking imagination here. So I know a lot of people that do a lot of messed up shit, and it's fine. So now he's got some friends as well here that he kind of hangs out with, and he sells to, kind of sort of. It's said that they buy some stuff together, they go in on some shit together sometimes, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Little small amounts here, and that's a guy named Mark Serrano, who we'll talk about, and a guy named Charles Gillio, who we'll talk about, Charlie Gillio. Someone here says, quote, they were acquaintances through the drug connection. Everyone called it a business relationship they had originally, but they've known each other forever, Gillio and Maury. Tony and Charlie Gillio have known each other since they were kids, and then Serrano hangs out with Charlie Gillio and comes over there and hangs out. That's the kind of the relationship, how it goes. They all kind of buy and sell and kind of do sleazy, low-level shit here, basically, and do drugs and shit. Charles Gillio Jr., another junior in the mix, he's 32 years old in early 2007, best described by me as a, quote, local scumbag. Yeah. That's what I would call him. If you saw him walking, you'd go, that's local scumbag Charlie Gillio. Right. Like, he is... him and he had brothers or cousins by the same name, and at the time, the same last name. At the time, I don't know now. They might have, the best self-employed fence installer company going, or I have no idea what the family's doing now. But at the time, this batch of Gillios, Charles and a couple others that I won't name, were kind of known as the whites of this area. Yeah. Like the wonderful whites of West Virginia. They were like the whites. Like, I know people who would get picked up by the cops without ID when they were like 15, and they would say they were one of the Gillios. I never did that, but I know people who literally did that. Yeah. I just said I was so-and-so Gillio. Fuck them. Because they were... like, and I'll say Charles especially, because he was kind of the head of it, he was a fucking asshole. He was just an asshole. That's all he was. He was a Joe Dirt-looking scumbag in 1995 when mullets and all that shit were not cool anymore.
They were a punchline already, yeah.
They were literally everybody... The whites. They were the fucking whites,
but
man.
The benefit of that is that you are known.
Him especially.
Yeah, there is something great to being quote-unquote notorious. I mean, the one white is missing right now, and people are looking for her, and they know who she is because she's a fucking nut job. That's great.
That's true.
It's great to...
If they were a little bit this much more interesting, Jimmy, maybe someone would have walked around and filmed them at the time. But instead, he's just, quote, local scumbag. There he goes.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro-laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's SONOBELLO.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So I remember him and his family, and I mean, the best thing would be like, like kind of that mid-90s like metal fan look, but not like the black, just like a denim jacket, mullet, that kind of thing, but like freckly and like real, like kind of, he was a real trashy looking dude.
The Dirtheads.
Yeah, he wore like tight jeans in the 90s. You're like, what are you doing? What are you like? Just but not like picking on him for fashion. He was like a dirtbag too. Like he sold he would like sell fucking fake drugs and shit. He was that kind of scumbag. And then there'd be 20 people wanting to beat the fuck out of him and chasing him around. And he was that kind of guy. Like just always had shit going on here. But he's really, really good friends since childhood with Tony Mori. Okay. They're tight. And they often ride four-wheelers together all around the neighborhood, and people see them and everything like that. So you have them. Now, friend of Gillio here, of Charlie Gillio, is a guy named Mark Serrano. Now, Mark Serrano, he's 29 years old at the time. Mark Serrano and I went to high school together. Mm-hmm. And I remember him very well because I used to fuck with him because he was a fucking asshole. Yeah. And I'm going to be very, very, very honest here. I'm 99.99% sure he's got an identical twin brother. He's either got an identical twin brother or a brother that's a year older or younger who you couldn't tell him apart from if you had a microscope. So perfect. I'm not sure, but there's fucking two of them. Mm-hmm. But this is the one we're talking about. I'm not going to involve his brother in this, obviously. But he and his brother and this other guy that they hung out with, who I won't name, used to walk around in these outfits in high school like they thought they basically looked like they were like assistants to their leader of a banana republic is what they look like. Terrific. like paramilitary flunkies is how they dressed. Yeah. They had like combat boots, but not like cool Docs. You know what I'm saying? They had like boots that were like tied up all the way, like they were going to trudge through a swamp in them.
Like caterpillars.
And like
caterpillar boots.
Combat boots.
Right.
Combat, and with like their pants tucked in, and they wore like either the like Army Navy surplus green, like jacket or like trench coats and shit like that. Uh-huh. And they acted like the one kid who I called them Hitler and the A-Team. That's what I called their group. The leader of this little group, who was a fucking dipshit, he did his hair in like this like Nazi youth way, and he just looked like a fucking Nazi. He just looked like a Nazi. So, fantastic. And he strutted around with these boots with his chest out, and this little group used to like fuck with people. They used to like fuck with kids that were weaker than like younger kids and shit like that, but they were pussies. Yeah. So I'd get the whole group and just call them names, called them Hitler and the A-Team, and I had a song about Hitler and the A-Team. Yeah. I don't remember the fucking words, but I was fucking follow these kids, singing behind them to try to get them to say something so I could fight with them because I didn't like them because they picked on people that I thought were weaker than them. So right away, I don't like this kid's character. Like, I know this motherfucker, and I don't like him. And I didn't like him then, and I fucked with him for a good 2 years. And I really wish that just one time he would have said something, because it might have changed a lot of shit that happened here. So
it changed the course of history.
It's possible. So Hitler and the A-Team. Mark Serrano, part of the A-Team, is what I called them. Because if you don't know what that was, it was a shitty TV show with Mr. T.
It's a great TV show. Are you nuts? I love it when a plan comes together, James.
I watched the shit out of the A-Team.
Such a good show.
That van was pretty cool.
It was.
If you were going to get molested in any van.
Oh, that's the one.
That's the one. You'd almost be like, I got molested, but
yeah. Did you hear the motor? That van
was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Had a 440 in it. That was a loud car.
They let me drive around the block afterwards, so no, that's a terrible thing to say. That's how cool. We're saying us as kids, not you. As when we kids in the 80s, that's how cool the van was to us. Right. That we would have taken one for the team on that one. So to get a ride in the A-Team van.
I still got a cross mark on my back, but it was worth it.
I got shag burns all over me still.
My knees got carpet.
So So I called them Hitler and the A-Team is what I'm getting at. I mean, as much as I saw them. And like I think Hitler was in my study hall, and which is a fun phrase to say. Hitler was in my study hall, which is, you don't hear that one often.
Somebody
I don't know if
said
that's ever
that
been
in
said
history,
before.
though. Somebody had to.
Maybe. Did they have study hall back then?
I mean, I think
maybe not.
I think everything was forced study hall back then.
Study where? In the hall. Go
right now.
Yelling at him in Austrian.
Yeah.
So, they grew up together here, Hitler and the A-Team, and basically they all went to John Jay, like I said. Now, Charlie Gillio and Tony Maury are so close that Tony's 3 sons call Charlie Uncle Charlie.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, they're very, very close. They grew up together and everything like that. One of the neighbors here says Charlie's family and Tony's family were like family to each other. Okay. He also said that they had raucous parties, and it was always kind of the two of them were the main cogs of these parties. They would drive the 4-wheelers all around on the street, around the neighborhoods, and shit like that. Yeah, you know the family. They would yell and scream on their ATVs and annoy all the neighborhood, basically, is what this neighbor said. One of the neighbors said about Gillio, quote, he'd act whacked out every weekend. So there's that.
It's a great review.
It's a great. He was not a good tenant as the one guy, and he would act whacked out every weekend.
Right.
This is what we're dealing with here, and a member of Hitler and the A-Team. These are the characters we got going on here. So, they all do drugs together. They all hang out together. They party together, and I don't know if they install fences together, but we'll see. Okay. Serrano works for Royal Carting, who is the company that takes my garbage right now. So that's pretty fucking funny. Anyway, it's one of the garbage companies here. There's like fucking 12 of them. So at the time as well, there's an 18-year-old living in the house named Francis Cannon. He's a John Jay High School student who was arrested for burglarizing John Jay High School.
Oh, fantastic. What do you do? What are you taking?
I know a kid who got drunk and broke into. I know a kid who got drunk and a guy. He was like 18 at the time. Got drunk and broke into the elementary school, Evans Elementary School, and just fucked with some shit. And like he cut himself on the glass because he was drunk and he bled all over the computers. And they charged him with vandalism for like bleeding all over the computers. That was an extra charge.
He deserves it.
That's what he said. He goes, I don't know why I did that shit.
Every charge, he deserves it. What a dick.
Why would you do that? You fucking dummy.
He didn't even take the computers. He just wanted to bleed on them.
What was he? He was drunk. He would have dropped them anyway. So
I was just jonesing for some math.
Oh my God! I think I've lifted the curtain a little too far back on this episode. I might have given everybody too much
wizard.
Too much inside. Yeah, I think so. I think I try to keep an air of something here of,
we thought you
mystery.
were taller.
And I'm letting way too much out of the bag. So this is why when we like make fun of people on crime and sports, I'm like, no, we know these fucking people. Do you understand? It's not like I'm sitting there going, oh, look at this guy out there. I know that guy. I know what he was doing because I was doing it or someone I know was doing it too. So this guy, this Francis Cannon, he's, like I said, arrested for burglarizing John Jay High School, had been staying at the home until January 16th. He stays there of 2007 when he goes to jail. That's the only reason he leaves, because he's taken to jail. Now, he was told, by the way, the day before he was taken to jail, there was a court hearing, and Tina, the wife, had told him, we're going to help you and get you out of this. And then it didn't work, obviously, because he ended up going to jail. So Tony, according to one of his friends, Tony Maury kept his drugs in a lockbox under his bed.
That's a good point.
That's how he worked this. When his 3 kids went to sleep, then people could come over to buy and use coke. You could come hang out with him and whatever, or you could just come buy some coke off him if you're a friend of his. And he didn't have like a major operation. It wouldn't be like strangers stopping by. It was that's what you do. You sell to your friends. Every little group has one guy here that gets shit for everybody. That's kind of how it works. So, that's what he was doing. When the boys were awake, people had to go to his bedroom and close the door, or they'd go down in the basement. and do deals. Okay,
Yeah.
so then when the kids were asleep, you could come in and hang out, and they'd party up over here. It's a little tiny 2-story house on Route 82. So, like we said, the friend, the Frankie Cannon guy who robbed the high school, he lives with them for about 4 or 5 months, and he helps Tony sell drugs. You got to earn your keep.
Yeah.
He's not a freeloader here.
He can't be a journeyman right out of the gate.
That's exactly.
Right.
You need to put your time in as an intern and really climb the ladder here. He says that he said that 2 of Tony's clients later on, 2 of them who happened to be Charles Gillio and Mark Serrano, Tony would sell about $80 worth of powder cocaine to Charlie Gillio every week. Mm-hmm. So about $80 a week worth of coke powder, which isn't really a lot. That's a little bit here. And then between $200 and $400 worth to Mark Serrano, A-team member number 1 or 2, depending on which brother he is.
It's a bit more.
It's a bit more. Yeah, that's a decent amount of coke there. You're going through some shit. So he's not doing too terrible. They said about May 2006, Tony threw a birthday party for himself and his wife.
For himself.
That cost not bad, right?
Yeah.
What do you think that party consisted of?
Lots of quads and drinking and front lawns.
You think ripping up front lawns.
Right.
Yeah, that sort of thing. That party, I don't know, possibly, but maybe they got some new quads for it because the party cost $15,000.
What kind of party? What?
That's like my Super Sweet 16 type of fucking party.
Yeah.
Like, what party costs $15,000? Have you ever had a party that costs $15,000?
It's called a wedding.
I was going to say it's called a wedding if the woman's always wanted to be a princess. That's the only time it's going to cost that much. If she had like a princess thing when she was a kid.
That's a lot of money.
The guy doesn't give a shit.
$15,000. He's hiring a DJ and he's catering it. Jesus fuck,
I don't
man.
know what kind of food that is. Maybe it's like a Tyrone Biggins thing. Like it's, like he just bought the biggest crack rock he could find.
Or he just got a very small one from the drug dealer in Pulp Fiction because those prices went fucking drastic changes. You know what I mean? So maybe he just got good stuff this time.
Well, part of it is he bought 4 ounces of cocaine for the party.
Go. Yeah.
That's a start.
That's a lot.
It's a lot for a party.
That's more than half of the $15,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot to just like a quarter pound of coke just to fucking
do.
It's
a lot, yeah.
In like a party? I guess if you have a lot of people, but still, I mean, you got to be...
certainly catering.
That's some kind of catering.
Yeah.
I'm picturing Scarface piles and shit on the goddamn... on a picnic table, or worse, on a quad seat.
Yeah.
If you're doing rails off your quad seat, you need to rethink your life. I don't know.
I would imagine that's a little more cleanly than a fucking toilet seat. People do that all the time, so who knows?
Good point. You know what's also fucked up? I don't think this house had a fence. Isn't that weird?
It's like the guy that works on cars always has the shittiest car. And the lady that cleans houses, her house is always a pigsty. You know what I mean? The chef always eats macaroni and cheese. If you do it for jobs, you don't do that shit at home.
You think you'd put it up like as a display thing? Like if you're for all these parties, you could be like, if one person goes, "That's a nice fence," you go, "Really?"
Listen, I can get you a nice quote.
And at that point, you can write off the party.
There you go. That's a business meeting.
Probably not the cocaine, but the rest of it.
Yeah.
Also, weed and plenty of beer. Okay. The party lasted 4 days.
Jesus.
My God, imagine being their neighbor.
There's never been an event in my entire life that I wanted to celebrate it for 4 days long. That's
never.
What the fuck?
Has there ever been an event that you were going to do where you had 4 ounces of cocaine to do over the course of the event?
Excellent point.
That might have turned into 4 days if maybe that was the deal.
I didn't have enough fuel for it. That's all.
No, that's all it was, Jimmy. You were weak.
Yeah.
You were weak. You needed to get some coke, put up some fences, and get your shit together. So... 4-day beer, booze, weed, and blow party. Mm-hmm. Beer, booze, bud, and blow party. It's on. So now Frankie Cannon, who was staying there, he's a high school dropout, and he had recently been also, not only was he kicked out of school, he was kicked out of his grandmother's house.
Hell yeah.
Which seems harder to get kicked out of than school.
That's usually the last place you can get kicked out of.
Yeah, you're usually at your grandmother's house because your parents kicked you out. That's why you're there.
She'll put up with a lot more shit than most any other place.
She remembers when you were little and you peed on her when she tried to change your diaper, and that's adorable. That's what she remembers. She's like, oh, my God. So he said that basically they would go, Frankie, the kid here was 18, him and Tony would often go on benders, staying up for days on coke. They'd go crazy, and Frankie likes to rob things, quote, for the thrill of it.
Yeah.
That's all. That's why he does it. There's
just for fun.
It's for fun. It's for the excitement. He likes to do coke and rob things. I think he likes... This is a guy who you have to push out of a plane first thing in the morning, every morning. Like, get that adrenaline out of him.
Yeah.
Then once he hits the ground, he's ready for the day. He's got it all out. He needs to be like, fuck! Yeah. For like 10,000 feet before he launches into his day, I think, or else we're all going to have problems. I don't know why, but he said they would do that. Tony had a small circle of friends who were allowed to come over to buy drugs. Like I said, this was not like anybody in the world could stop by. This wasn't like a spot. Yeah. He wasn't set up like D'Angelo Barksdale in the low rises in The Wire.
He's not inviting folks.
Yeah, this is a different thing. This is friends. Now, Frankie said that, this is what Frankie says, that Tony and Frankie would drive to the house of the buyers that he didn't know too well. He wouldn't have him over his house. If it was somebody who he was, acquaintance, friend of a friend, they would take the coke to the guy or to the girl or whoever, but they wouldn't do it at their own house, which is good when you have kids around. You don't want to just be willy-nilly. That's showing some restraint. You know what I mean? Don't have strangers over your house to buy coke when you have 3 kids in the house. You shouldn't have anybody over to buy coke when you have 3 kids in the house, but strangers especially.
You should be leaving to do that business.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he also says, Frankie does, that Tony made a point of keeping doors and windows locked, sometimes to the point of propping chairs against doors. People who do coke are paranoid about things coming from the outside, so... There's a lot of lock checking and peephole looking and curtain pushing and all that shit going on. It's not surprising.
And then wedging chairs under door handles, that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's excessive, I think, there. That's. I feel like if someone's going to make that big of an effort, I don't think the chair is going to help.
No.
So, January 15th, 2007, so this is 4 days before the house was ablaze, Tina calls her mom in a panic, okay? The wife here, Tina Mori. She calls her mom. She says, quote, "Mom, I'm petrified for Tony. He and Charlie had a big blowout, and Tony told him to stay away from our house." That's what she tells her mom. Her mom says that she and Tina said they didn't know what good it would do to call the police since Gillio hadn't done anything illegal. He's just kind of a menacing guy who they're now afraid of because he's that kind of guy. Like I told you, he's a scumbag. So, so that's how this all goes. Now, that's the only kind of red flag of trouble for Tina that she says. A few days before that, she tells the other clerk that she's going to run away to Virginia with her kids. Calls her mom, says she's scared for her husband. Yeah. Charlie, whatever. He told Charlie to stay away from the house. So the night of January 18th into the 19th, that is the night of the fire. Like we said, 3:20 a.m., fire rages. Passersby call 911. The fire department comes. Once they get the fire out, they enter the place. They enter it, and the first thing they find is what looks like a dead body of a younger person.
Oh no.
First thing they find, and everything in here is absolutely charred to fuck, by the way. Nothing here it's bad. The residents, they remove everything they can from the residents, and they place everything in everything they find or everybody they find on a canvas tarp in the front yard, by the way. Yeah. So later this morning, as they go through the rubble, they find the charred remains of Tony and Tina Mori. Yeah. They are on top of each other under a living room sofa. is how they find them. They were burned so badly that at first the investigators thought that it was one body, not two. That's how bad they were burned. Yeah, well, melded together pretty much. The post-mortem here, the exam and investigation reveals that Tony and Tina were each shot with a rifle. Tony shot once through the neck. Tina shot in the face and in the back.
Good Lord.
With a rifle. Yeah, in the face and in the back. Terrible shit. And then burned beyond recognition in the rear first-floor family room of the home.
Yeah.
That's what they found. Now, the youngest boy, 6-year-old Ryan, was found downstairs by the front door where he was running, trying to get out.
Yeah, he's getting out, yeah.
But he didn't make it to the front door. He got close to the front door before he was bludgeoned with a blunt...
Good Christ!
Blunt trauma force to the head. Bludgeoning is what ultimately took him down.
6-year-old, fuck.
6-year-old. Then... But that didn't kill him. He was just left for dead while he was lying there suffering before he succumbed to smoke inhalation once the place was set ablaze. So that's how that went. The oldest boy, this is the worst. I mean, I don't know how you can say the worst. The oldest boy, Tony Jr., 13 years old, he fought hard, this kid. He's a bigger kid, and he wasn't fucking, he fought. He was a kid had balls, man. He really did. He suffered 83 stab wounds.
What?
83. That's how fucking hard this kid fought.
That's a tough kid.
A real tough kid. Kid's tough enough to get stabbed. That's wild. You got to really fucking... And a lot of them were defensive, threw his hands into his face and things like that. It was a lot of defensive.
Sweet fuck.
Really, really bad stuff there. And then the middle boy, Adam, who was only 10, he was sleeping. He didn't even know any of this was going on. So the younger child tried to run. The father and mother are shot. And then the younger child tries to run. And the old child is stabbed in this brutal attack. The middle son's still sleeping.
That's how I go. I sleep like a rock.
Yeah, they don't just say, okay, he's sleeping, don't worry about him. They ended up going into his room, and he is stabbed in the side of the head as he slept.
Oh, good God. What?
The knife, this is rough, everybody. The knife was... This is fucking brutal. I'm sorry about this. The knife was plunged so hard that the tip went into the pillow on the other side.
Oh, Christ.
That's
poor kid.
Yeah, imagine the depravity that goes into that act. Think about what I just described, what happened in this house.
The effort that it takes to do that. You'd have to be mad furious or...
With children.
Yeah.
With children. And then say, burn it to the fucking ground on top of it. This is as heinous, as fucking disgusting, as shitty as a thing that any human being could do here, or any human beings. So, Tony and his wife were each shot, like we said, and the children were stabbed and everything like that, as we said. The medical examiner and the prosecutors here and the police also, they put out basically this because they said they wanted people to know. Basically, they want the family to know how hard the kid fought for his life and shit like that, too. They said this isn't, the kid fought really hard, and that's just brutal, man. So, man, the youngest, Ryan, was stabbed and then beaten, by the way. They stabbed him, and he still ran, and then they beat him to death in the head. That's how it happened. And then he was burned. They said he would have probably died from the stab wounds or the bludgeoning. Either one of them were good enough to do it. Right. But the smoke inhalation got him first.
And all 5 of them are dead.
And all 5 is dead here. The police said they have no leads at this time. They said, quote, we're checking regional hospitals for anyone who might have shown up with burns or lacerations, in particular cuts to their hands. Yeah. Because that hard of stab wounds.
Yeah, your hand goes down that knife.
It's hard to keep your hand on the blade. They say, quote, if anyone knows anyone who all of a sudden has bandaged up hands, cuts, or burns, we'd like to know about it. So it's out there. Then they find, like we said, Tony's car right over there. This was the Morey family car, the purple Kia.
Right.
We talked about that was burned less than a mile from the home here. And it's about a mile also in between. It's basically in between Tony's house and Charlie Gillio's trailer. Okay. is how it works. That's equal distance between them. So right away they'd like to talk to Charlie just because that's the trail onto there, and he knows him really well. And whether they're suspicious of Charlie or not, or they just think that Charlie might know something about this or know someone that Tony was beefing with or whatever because he's his best friend, whatever. So a neighbor who knows both of them, both Charlie and Tony Mori, said, quote, "I've known Charlie since I was 8 years old. There's no way that kid did anything. They were very good friends." Another neighbor said, "Tony would come up here every day riding the quads with him. They're very good friends." And then another one said that Charlie was all crying and upset and worried about those kids and what happened to them. So this neighbor says, no, Charlie was all broken up about the whole thing. You got it all wrong if you think Charlie had anything to do with it. He was crying over the kids and everything like that. A cousin of Charlie said that Charlie was hysterical after the deaths and torn apart. And the cousin said, quote, "He loved those boys. He cried, sat in his house last week crying over the loss of his nephews and what he called his brother." That's how he described him to me.
Okay.
So they're saying Charlie is just, don't even think about him as a suspect because he's torn apart, boy.
Yeah, well, he's either distraught for loss or distraught because, I mean, how do you not feel some sort of feeling if you're responsible for that?
I mean, unless you're like one of these like Iceman or like, one of these guys who's just like, I don't know, I just cut people's heads off and don't feel anything about it. Unless you're like one of those people.
It's just a thing I do.
It's just a thing I do. I mean, It's not like it's it doesn't define me as a person.
No.
I also install fences. Did I tell you that? So, it's a very, you really have to have some, I don't even know you have to have no heart or soul whatsoever to say, I'm going to wipe out a family of 5 kids and all, burn the house down. Oh, by the way, and those kids call me Uncle Charlie. That they're saying, that would be really a lot. So 200 leads they're trying to track down here. One of them came from a road check they conducted between midnight and 3 a.m. on the next day. Mm-hmm. Basically, they set up a roadblock and checked everybody that was kind of doing a little looky-loo late night. Like, somebody who might want to check it out in the middle of the night and see. Also, the community responds by setting an impromptu memorial up outside the home. They have to build a small wooden fence to do it by the way. Yeah. So, I don't know. See, he should have built a fence. So, nothing to guy. I mean, it's a terrible tragedy, obviously, but if he had a fence, it'd be easier to have a memorial. That's all I'm saying. So, now, one of the family members went to the home the day after it was burned and to try to help other family members retrieve any mementos they could, photographs, anything that wasn't completely charred beyond recognition.
There's no way there's anything left, right?
They find pieces of things and whatever, so they're getting photographs, and this family member said he was carrying some photos of the Mori children when he met a state trooper who was also, hanging out around there. Yeah. And he said the trooper said to him, "Are these the kids on the pictures?" And he said they were. And he said the trooper looked at the photos and he says, "Now I have faces to remember by as I do my job." So they were really, people were fucking pissed about this. It's one, and this happens anywhere. And it's one thing to kill adults, especially it's one thing to certain people that do certain things. No one deserves to be obviously killed in their house and all this, but certain lifestyles lend themselves better to certain, like the guy last week that we talked about, his lifestyle didn't really lend himself to being murdered that much. You know what I mean? He was just, he was a plumber and, things like that, whatever. So sometimes if you throw weekend-long cocaine parties, you tend to, it's a different element that you're dealing with at that point. So, like I said, not that anybody deserves anything, obviously not even close to it, but fuck, man, it happens. You end up around shitty people. Now, the reaction of everybody, like I said, was round-the-clock investigation, overtime out the window, everything you want, throw everything at it. One of the police spokesman said, quote, "This is certainly not an average homicide. The Mori family were attacked and viciously murdered in their own home." So, that's different. Yeah. That doesn't happen all the time, to be attacked and viciously murdered in your own home. So Sunday, January 21st, they keep this vigil going with all sorts of balloons and notes and all sorts of shit at the home. On the 23rd, rumors start to circulate, And police deny reports that were actually in the New York Post, I believe. Post or Daily News. I don't want to say which one, but the title of the article was Horror House Boys Tortured. That was the title of it.
Christ.
So, I mean, they were saying the kids were tortured. The police come out and say the kids were not tortured, first of all. They weren't, I mean, you could call that torture, but they don't think it was like a torture thing. They weren't doing it. It wasn't to cause pain. They were trying to kill the kids and just weren't that good at it.
Right.
I mean, I'm not trying to encourage anybody, but just in terms of common fucking sense, if you were walking around and you killed two people rather efficiently with one particular instrument, you know what I mean? And then you went to another instrument, and clearly it was not as efficient, obviously, as those were like way crazy, brutal murders. Were the gunshots just very loud sounding, and they went, fuck, neighbors are going to hear that? Like, that's all I can think. Like, did you only have 3 bullets? What the hell was your... what was your... plan there? Shoot everybody if you're going to do it. At least put them out of their fucking misery early.
Beating children and stabbing upwards of 90 times is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, let's stab the 10-year-old in the head is a weird fucking thing when you just shot people and it killed them fast. Like, I don't understand why you would do that. So, also, the police are also denying rumors that are coming out in the papers that the killers had ties to organized crime, which I can assure you they didn't. So... Definitely not. They were still looking at hospitals and everything like that, looking for people with wounds and shit. The Tony's body was identified through DNA. The children were visually identified, and the mother, Tina, was identified through X-rays and dental records.
Eesh.
So it was bad stuff. Now, Thursday, January 25th, 2007, police report there's no signs of forced entry into the Morey home, and they also have a good idea of what caliber weapon was used to shoot Tina and Manuel. It'll turn out it's a .22 caliber rifle that did it. Now, January 25th, also on that Thursday, once they find out the caliber, they talk to someone. And they talk to someone through a very unique way of finding someone to talk to. Not normal investigative routes, really. This is a mobile plate hunter. Okay?
What is that?
This is a machine that tracks, like a computer that tracks plates that drive by.
Oh, okay.
Anything that looks like that's a rectangular, like the license plate, it registers it as it goes by, just to whatever. So, there was a mobile plate hunter installed on the roof of a police car, that was patrolling Route 82 near the Morey home early on the morning of January 19th. The device takes 20 pictures per second as it goes. So a lot. And anything it sees that has the shape of a license plate. So it really clicks on it. So make sure you end up getting a clear one. So what ended up happening is they do a search for license plates on this system of people that they think might possibly be involved, to see if they were around there that night.
Yeah.
To see how that goes. So they find a photo of a Nissan Xterra with Mark Serrano's license plate clearly visible in it from that night, right at the right time where these murders would have taken place.
Okay.
So clearly they'd like to have a chat with Mark.
Yeah.
About this. They said they searched data from the GPS system in the trooper car, determined the picture of Serrano's car captured by the mobile plate hunter had been taken about 500 feet from Morey's house. This isn't like, 5 miles down the road. 500 feet from the house at 1:14 a.m. on January 19th. And so he couldn't deny being in the vicinity of the house when the shit happened. So... This was a problem. They had to bring him in, and it's hard to talk your way out of that one.
Yeah.
That's difficult. Well, I just drove by. Wasn't on fire when I left. I don't know. So,
I know him.
I heard of him. I don't know. So, according to the court documents here later on, Serrano tells the police at first here, he says that the day of the fire, he doesn't know anything about it. Him and Joe Gilly, or him and John, what did I say his name was? Charlie. Why did I call him Joe and John?
All right.
Joe, John, Bob, Bill, Frank. Charlie. Jesus Christ. Charlie Gillio here and Mark Serrano had been drinking beer at Gillio's home when they called Tony Mori and asked him to come over and hang out. Serrano tells the cops here that Tony Mori said no thank you, and Serrano said that Serrano himself left Gillio's trailer and went home. So... Okay. And by the way, if anybody would ever think, knowing in high school, that guy's going to live in a trailer when he's 30, that's exactly what you would think, and we were all fucking right. That's amazing, by the way. I just have to say that. To see the future like that is pretty prescient when you're 16. So in a second statement given the next day, Serrano tells police that he and Gillio called Tony Mori late night to find out if he would sell them some coke, not to come and hang out. He said that Tony Mori told him he didn't have any coke. So then 3 days later, Serrano talks to the cops again, and this time he says he and Gillio bought cocaine on the night of the 18th from a guy in Beacon, which as one does. Right. So they went to Beacon, and then Gillio later called Tony Mori asking for more cocaine. So he said this was just like a secondary, you know how it goes with coke.
Yeah.
One batch isn't enough. They're always going back for more. So they said over the next 3 days, Serrano, quote, offered many different accounts of the night of January 18th and morning of the 19th. During one conversation, Serrano said he drove Gillio to the Mori home, then saw the house was on fire. He also told police he'd seen Gillio carrying a sawed-off .22 rifle when he dropped him off at the Mori home.
Sawed-off .22, that's a bizarre weapon.
That's some white trash shit right there. I have a .22 rifle. How do I make it cool and mobile?
Yeah.
I'll saw it off and make it inaccurate and weak. Isn't that the benefit of a .22 is its accuracy?
Right.
So
the shotgun that you saw down it looks menacing, but it also sprays more.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. If you're in an enclosed room, you can get everybody.
Right.
Like a bank robbery or something. But this makes very little sense except for I sawed it off. Cool.
Right.
Huh? Look at that. All right. So
I heard sawed off sounds scary.
It sounds good, right? So also they find, and we'll find out how they find it, but they will find DNA evidence of bloodstains found on Serrano's clothing and inside his car that came from some of the victims. Not good. Not a good thing here. So, under questioning by his attorney, by the police here, he just says, I've been drinking beer. We were just drinking and snorting coke. That's all we were doing. He said that he and Gillio, finally he says this is what happened. He and Gillio were sitting in his Nissan Xterra in the parking lot of a convenience store on Route 82.
Yeah.
Okay.
Class.
Yeah. And I, as a teenager, done this many times, but I wasn't 33 is the good part. But as a teenager, you'd meet up at a convenience store parking lot hoping to meet a drug dealer. That's how this worked. Which I've done, like I said, plenty of times, or been on the other end of it. So they were trying to buy weed, he says, at 10:30 that night. All right, so they're waiting on a guy, waiting on him. Finally, they wait, and about 10:30 p.m., Gillio says, fuck it, let's go to Tony's house and just get some coke, which is a big escalation from we're waiting for an eighth of weed to let's just go get some coke. I guess it's getting late. They're getting tired. I don't know, man. So Serrano says that he drove south on Route 82, parked his SUV in the parking lot of Gino's restaurant, which was right next door to the property there. It's a different restaurant now. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it was Gino's at the time. And he watched Gillio go inside the Mori home. He says he waited about 10 minutes. About 10 minutes after waiting, Serrano says he he left the car, went to the front door, opened the door, and saw Charlie Gillio talking to Tony Mori in the kitchen. He says, quote, they were talking about going out to get cocaine, but Tony said he needed to check with Tina. Okay. He needed to check with his wife to see if it was cool to go out and get coke on a Thursday night.
Right.
Anybody who's married would understand that anyway.
Right.
I don't know if the wife's going to be cool with me going on a coke run on a work night. You know what I mean? I got fences to install tomorrow. She's not going to be thrilled with this.
We got 3 kids.
We got 3 kids. Yeah, that's a lot for a Thursday night coke run. So he said at this point that Tina said no, she didn't want Tony to leave, which Yeah, obviously. And the conversation went into the living room, and this is what Serrano says after that. Quote, Tony looked at Charlie, and then Charlie pulls this .22 from inside his sweatshirt. He put the barrel straight up to Tony's face and fired the gun. Tony spun around and fell on his back. Now, he ended up shooting him in the neck, but if you put it to his face and he moved, that's a very... Right. So that makes sense.
That's where it drops, yep.
Exactly. He said that Serrano then heard Tina Mori, obviously the wife, screamed and said, quote, what did you just do? Which is pretty clear. He said she just yelled that at Charlie. Serrano says, quote, she jumped up and pushed Charlie, and he raised the gun and fired it at her face. Jesus Christ. Quote, she ran to the door and Charlie fires. He shot her in the back. So
he hit her in the face and she ran away.
She ran away, shit. So then he shot her in the back and dropped her like that. So he said, Serrano said that he began to back out of the room at this point. He's like, I was all freaked out. You know how it is. He said, quote, I was yelling, what the hell just happened? He said, Gilio, quote, tried to calm me down, telling me not to worry about it, but he left the house and drove to his home about a mile away. Okay? So Serrano says he ran away, got in his car, drove away, right to his house. He said he was terrified, and he ran in the front door, locked the front door behind him, got undressed, and snorted some cocaine. Yes, I said those things in that order. I'm watching you, and the look on your face, you're like, okay, scared. Yeah. He goes in, he undressed, so that means he's going to put different clothes on, maybe.
That's
to
a timeline.
Cover the thing. Nope, just naked, doing some coke.
After
fooled
murder.
You.
Yeah.
Fucking
wild.
Oh, man. So, yeah, so he's sitting there, undressed, snorting some coke, which is what I do when I need to calm down. Yeah. Clearly. After about 2 hours, he said he decided to go back to the Maury house, which okay, let's say this happened. You went with your friend to buy some coke and you popped in the door and he's shooting everybody in the house and you ran away. Would you go back 2 hours later just to check it out a bit? Or would you fucking move to Arkansas and never be heard from again and change your name? What are you doing? I'm sorry. So anyway, he says that, he did that. They asked him, well, what did you see? And he said, I made my way up the stairs looking for Charlie. He said he looked into an upstairs bedroom that he knew was used by Tony and Tina. And then he said he smelt a strong odor of fresh blood in another bedroom.
Yeah, that shit stinks, man. Oh, James, that stuff smells so terrible. You smell blood, you know you smell blood.
Like that. Yeah. But a strong odor of fresh blood is not something we hear often in these descriptions. He says, quote, I noticed the older son on the floor. I shook his leg to wake him up and noticed I was standing in blood. He was stabbed 83 times.
Yeah.
Don't think you wouldn't notice that shit.
You're wading through that, my friend.
Yeah, that shit is literally splashing. That's ridiculous. Yeah. And I noticed I was standing in blood. He said then he ran downstairs, slipping in a pool of blood and bracing his blood-stained palm on the wall, because that's the other reason they found a partial bloody palm print on a little tiny unburned piece of drywall, which is pretty goddamn remarkable.
Yeah.
He said that at that point, he looked up, all freaked out, of course. Everybody's dead. Everything's going on. He looked up only to find Charlie Gilio carrying a gasoline can. Okay, that's what he sees. He said then he went outside where he saw Gilio jump into Tony's car. He said after watching Gilio set the car on fire a few minutes later, which was also like a half a mile away,
right?
He says that he drove Gilio home and went home himself and told he called into work. He went home and called in the Royal Karting at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning.
You know, the trash is going to have to wait, you guys. I can't do it.
He's like, you know what? Well, I guess if you're a garbage man, you have to call in super early because that shit's,
Yeah.
They're out there
you got to be there at 5 a.m.
3 a.m. They're already cranking. The guy's like, what? You're not coming in? Jesus Christ, we're busy as shit down here. Come on. He's not coming in to take out the trash. And he says that instead he stayed home to try to wash the blood off his clothes, because he'd been slipping and sliding and everything like that. That goes here.
Yeah.
So the following afternoon, he said that Gillio asked him to drive to Dutchess Park Lake. Oh my God, Dutchess Park. Oh, Jesus Christ. Dutchess Park is a neighborhood of houses behind what was the A&P Future Store back in the 90s, which was this terrible supermarket. Anyway, this neighborhood had like some nice pockets of the newer areas of it and then some like shitty older pockets. Yeah. And basically there was a list of about probably 40 of us where if we were seen anywhere in there, we were getting pulled over and searched. And I've been pulled over and searched no less than 25 times in Dutchess Park. It's just, it was happening. Like, just not even you could be going 10 miles an hour, stopping 10 and 2, you're getting pulled over and searched. Not even, do you have anything on? You just get out of the car and they start tearing it apart. So anyway, Dutchess Park Lake, asked him there. He said once they got to the lake, he said that that Gillio got out of the car near the lake carrying something under a leather jacket. He said he drove around the block, picked Gillio up again, and then later he also threw some of his bloodstained clothes in the lake. He was like, well, that seemed like a good place to do that.
Great place to put it.
Absolutely. So the police, based on what he said, went to the lake and found the .22 caliber rifle, a blood-stained knife, and Serrano's bloody clothes while they searched the lake. So they have all sorts of evidence. Now, the only thing they have, though, is basically all this physical evidence tied to Serrano and him saying that Charlie Gillio did all of it.
Right.
That's basically what they have. They have no physical evidence of Charlie Gillio whatsoever.
They've got him.
Here. They've got Serrano saying he was there, but they have Serrano's palm print. Blood from the victims is in his car, and blood is on his clothes, and he knew where the knife and gun were.
Right.
So that's a tough one, but they end up arresting him, obviously, Serrano, and he had done all these different interviews, and they were all different. All of his fucking stories were different. He has no criminal record at the time.
None.
That's the thing. Those kids at the time that I remember them, they weren't into drugs or doing anything like, illegal because they were pussies in high school. So I don't know what they became of later, but apparently this. And Gillio, it said, had been in the paper, they say, had been arrested a few times for minor offenses, which describes exactly what I would have probably said. A bunch of like little shit. I bet he's got a DUI and a fucking possession of this and you know what I mean? Yeah. That kind of guy. So they arrest Serrano and they arrest Charlie Gillio as well. They're each charged with a single count of second-degree murder to start with. This is the death of Tony. That's where they just to be able to keep him.
That's a good start.
Good start. The police say, quote, "We do not believe this was a random act. We believe that we have two people who are responsible for it, and they're currently behind bars." They said they have forensic evidence and statements made by both of them, so they're pretty confident about this. They go to Charlie Gillio's home, which is a trailer, and they search it. Now, Charlie says, "I'm innocent."
Yeah.
This is crazy. I'm a good guy. Mm-hmm. I'm innocent. He denied ever going to the residence that night. He said, quote, "I was never at Tony's house that night." That's what he tells the police when they pick him up. "I don't know what you're talking about." He says, quote, "I didn't do it." Listen to this line. This is a classic. "I didn't do it, but if I did, I don't," and he said it very specifically because this comes up later.
All right, OJ.
"I don't recollect it."
Recollect,
not recollect. I don't recollect it, which that's perfect, honestly. Yeah. I didn't do it, but if I did, I don't recollect it. What the fuck does that mean?
Oh, John Jay High School.
Oh, thanks, John. This is what I mean. Great job, everybody. Yeah. Good job all around, John Jay High School. Wonderful. A 32-year-old man saying recollect in a police interview. Fighting for his life, he's saying recollect like a fucking idiot. So they're being held without bail. They're going to appear in court. Serrano also faces the charge of first-degree robbery. And that's how they do that. They're accused of the killings. They said, quote, "These two individuals acted together," and they said it would be difficult to say which one had the larger role.
Sure.
I'd say when a kid gets stabbed so hard that the knife goes through his head into a pillow, really doesn't matter which one was, which one did what. I don't care who held this, and I don't care who packed shit and who moved shit, or who held shit and who moved shit. If you held it or moved it, you're still just as responsible. Yeah. You're half the business at that point, so don't care. They say the police received information that Tina Mori told a lot of people that she was very scared of Charlie Gillio. She was worried he'd come over to the house and do something, and sadly she was right. That's what the police or the prosecutor said here. When they searched Gillio's trailer, it's less than 2 miles from Tony's home here. Gillio is, guess his profession, Jimmy.
Homeless, jobless, unemployed.
No, he's not employed by anybody, but what's his
job title?
Yeah, what's his trade?
Jesus Christ, I don't know.
You know.
Yeah, do I?
You know. What? You know what he is. We discussed
I don't.
He's a roofer, Jimmy. The fucking sun and the tar.
Yeah.
And everything. I'm sure there's good roofers and nice people out here, but
that's a hard goddamn job, but they'll hire anybody to do it.
I've known like 3 roofers in my life, and they were all crackheads. Not saying all roofers are crackheads, but the only 3 I've known were crackheads. And now this one too, you can add to the list of roofy crackheads. So, they said he lived there for about 1.5 years. Gillio has a 3-year-old son as well. Mm-hmm. So, gotta reproduce there. It's a white trailer with light green trim. Great. They described it in the paper while it's being searched as a white trailer with light green trim surrounded by state police vehicles.
Sounds like the kind.
That's the one. Yeah. It comes with that, right? I feel like. Now, if you buy this model, you're going to get twice a year surrounded by state police vehicles. Once a year, they're going to bring black vans as well that they can hide and put evidence. It's pretty exciting. You're going to like it. Now, post-arrest, a Gillio relative here, and more accurately, Gillio's father, Charles Gillio, also here, he says that he doesn't think that he did it and all this sort of thing. But other people come out and say that Gillio talked about wanting to kill Tony Mori and burn his house down in the last couple months before it happened. And so they go back and forth. Members of the Gillio family, one particular member does think he did it. That's his cousin Dorothy Gillio. She told police and later a jury that she believed that Charlie had committed the crime. She said she spoke to him several times in the following days after January 19, 2007, and she said, quote, he knew about things about the crime that were not said in the newspaper. So she said that Charlie often bought cocaine from Tony, but in the summer and fall of 2006, her cousin was often angry with Tony because he would not give him drugs on credit. So he said, you got to have cash.
Yeah.
And he was like, how fucking dare he make me pay for coke?
I got to pay up front? I can't, what?
Jesus, you mean I got to buy it? Good God. He said she recalled him saying, quote, I'm going to kill that fuck and go down there and burn his fucking house down. So, I mean, that's pretty specific, I would say. She also said she'd been a friend of Tina's, Tony's wife who was murdered here, and that when she heard the radio news reports about the fire, she drove from her home in Dover Plains to the Maury residence where she spoke with police and firefighters briefly. Then she drove to Charlie Gillio's mobile home about a mile and a half away. She said when she got there, Serrano was over there visiting Gillio, and shortly after they arrived, they both began drinking beer and snorting coke.
Hell yeah.
As they do.
Yeah.
So Serrano's story of being horrified by all of this kind of doesn't really hold water when you are hanging out there 2 days later snorting coke with the guy who you were so taken aback by. You had the vapors over him murdering children.
Yeah.
The fuck out of here. So, Jesus Christ. She said that Charlie and Serrano said they believed the family may have been killed by a pair of drug dealers who they said had recently jumped Tony Mori because he owed them money for cocaine. That was it's the OJ defense. I think it was drug dealers. They owed him for coke. You know how they are. 2 days later, she said she returned to the trailer, and during a conversation about the murders, she said Charlie said he'd heard that Tony had been shot in the neck. And that hadn't been out yet in the paper. And she said that her cousin said, quote, I bet he felt that. I bet that hurt.
Oh, boy.
You think? Now, she says that she also, because later on she'll testify, and under cross-examination, she also says that she has been admitted to the mental hospital with psychiatric problems recently, which doesn't change anything.
No.
She says, they asked her why. She said, quote, I shot a gun off in my house. I went over the edge. I needed help. I was depressed. I lost my family, my friends.
Indoors. In your own house. Oh, yeah. Boy.
I don't know if that's, I was going to shoot myself, change my mind at the last second. Or if that's, I don't know what it is. But you're depressed and, a bunch of your friends just got wiped out with their kids and then you think your cousin did it. And that'll make you a little weird, I think. That'll make you loopy.
It'll change your life, yeah.
Kind of. So the Gillio family, though, not having this at all. His mom, Charlie's mom, very mad at the police. Very mad. She said, I am upset and I'm angry at what my son has been put through. This is an innocent person. Very upset.
Are you also pissed?
She's very, very mad.
Yeah. Are you furious too?
I think she's, no, I don't think so at all. She's only angry at what's been done. She's upset and she's angry. I think that's where she draws the line.
All right.
I mean, she's not unreasonable. Let's put it that way. She's not trying to be a jerk here. She's just upset and angry.
I like that she's throwing synonyms for the same emotion.
I'm upset. I'm angry.
I'm furious. I'm pissed off.
This. I'm mad. I'm pissed.
I've had it up to here.
I'm mad as hell and I ain't going to take it anymore. So, Gillio Sr., his dad, Charlie's dad, said he had not had a good night's sleep or even enjoyed a meal since his son was arrested. Oh. I'm sorry.
How do you think the parents of the family who's been murdered feel, you fucking jerk?
Wow, I bet the parents of them, their kids and grandkids have been killed. I bet they're pretty upset too.
Haven't eaten.
Yeah, he says, just going to work every day is hard, said the elder Gillio, who, oh great, is also employed by rail carting. They're going to no one's ever going to pick my garbage up again. I'm fucking myself so, but dude, I'm going to be, you don't understand. I'm going to have some crazy fucking, this is bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing here. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? I'm just putting myself up for bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't even care. Fuck it. I'm going to do it anyway. They deserve it. Fuck them. By the way, don't go to the Red Oaks Mill Liquor. Don't go to that liquor store if you're in the area. Well, I walked in there to get a bottle of wine to celebrate all of our shit finally arriving after 4 fucking weeks.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could hear was some guy behind the counter and some other guy exchanging insane conspiracy theories of a level that I can't eat. I'm not talking about I heard. No, not that. I'm talking about what the fuck are you talking about? And I called the guy fucking ridiculous. And
Why did you do that? Why don't you play into it? Be like,
I can't.
You guys are 3 months behind. Haven't you heard about the spiders that are coming?
I actually thought about it, but this guy would then be telling other people who would actually believe it because the shit he was saying was wild. I mean, it was. I mean, I'll look for shit to laugh at that people are saying, and this was outside of that. I don't know where he heard this shit. It was crazy.
You should have made it worse. Tom Hanks doesn't even drink blood anymore. He's freebasing it. You guys are way behind.
Jesus Christ. Don't you know anything? Listen. Hillary used to suck the blood right from the children's necks, but then, obviously, no, it wasn't even that stuff. It was, which is fucking out of the realm of crazy, but it was it was past over that rainbow and fucking 3 down the line. It was wild, dude. And
I'd have made it worse. Tom Hanks converted Judaism just to become a moil to suck the blood out of infants' cocks.
You know that. Orthodox. So, by the way, that was a practice for a long time. I think they stopped that now, and that wasn't an Andrew Jackson moment. He was just saying that
was just fun.
They've come to terms with that recently, too. Maybe we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, the elder Gillio said that I really don't eat that much anymore. This whole thing's taken my appetite away. He's very concerned with his food consumption, this guy. 3 different times he's mentioning how this is affecting his food.
I haven't eaten a good meal. I'm starving. Can you see me? I'm wasting away. I've lost weight.
I had a plate of cavatelli last night. I looked at it and I said, I'm not eating this. Maybe 1 meatball, but nothing more. I'm just not having any more.
I'm so hungry, but I can't eat.
He says also, I can't sleep. I'm up and down all night. He's having problems.
Poor bastard.
Yeah. And
can't get a wink, can't get a nod. So
that's
hungry.
what I mean. Can't get nothing. And then he says that the comments describing the 2 accused as monsters. He says, quote, "They don't know Charlie. They don't know us. The way I was brought up, you don't talk bad about someone unless you know the facts. I'm upset about what they put my son through." Very upset. He says he could never understand how a grand jury could have indicted his son without the benefit of any physical evidence, blood, fingerprints, or trace evidence linking him to the crime. He says, quote, "Nobody can walk away from a crime like that without carrying something with them." He said he discounted any kind of testimony. He said he especially discounts Dorothy, the cousin. She's fucking nuts, he says. Literally, he says that also discounts Dorothy and other inmates who Gillio told about the crime in detail, stuff that wasn't in the paper. She said that he said, well, they could all have motives to implicate my son, and he says that Dorothy, quote, has always been a little unreliable, a little off.
Yeah.
So
she's a cousin. What do you want?
Everyone's got that cousin. The cousin who's a little unreliable, a little off, one that murders a family and burns the house down. There's all these different cousins everyone has. Somewhere you got an HVAC cousin. He said, he added that she may have been mad at his son, Charlie here, for providing police with information that had led to the arrest of one of her brothers, another Gillio, Darren Gillio, on a robbery case a few years ago. Yeah. I'm telling you, it runs deep, Jimmy.
Yeah.
As for the jailhouse witnesses, he said he believed inmates could be induced to lie in exchange for lighter sentences. He said anyone will say anything if certain deals are offered.
He means coerced.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah.
He doesn't mean induced.
Induced. Yeah, he said induced. Yeah. They can produce anything they want. I'm telling you, it'll do it. So they
can conclude. They can recluse anything.
Another relative said that Charlie was definitely the wrong person. He spent the whole week crying. She said, quote, "I'm worried about my family's safety. In my opinion, they got the wrong person." She says that, quote, "He was hysterical. He loved those boys. He cried. He sat in his house crying, all that. I know my cousin and I know he didn't do this." God damn it. So, they said they've been friends for a long time. I just don't understand it. I just know my cousin is incapable of this. They said Charlie's cooperating with police. This is ridiculous. Charlie has so many people who love him and are standing by him. We know he didn't do this. By the way, is the death penalty on the table? Because if there's ever a death penalty case, I would say
this is pretty good.
It's pretty good standard. No, in 2004, the Supreme Court, New York State Supreme Court, declared death penalty unconstitutional at the time. So they got rid of it then. So wouldn't be bad to. You'd sure like to punch one of them in the side of the head. I'll tell you that much. It just makes me, it makes me so mad that I had the opportunity, Jimmy.
Yeah. You really blew it.
Tried to fucking fight this kid. I was like, come on, motherfucker. Just wouldn't do it.
Your plan didn't come together. That's all.
Oh, God damn it. Fuck. Maybe it could have avoided this. That's all I know. Or made it worse. I'm not sure. So during the trial that's going to come up here, Gillio's going to say, I was just drinking beer and snorting coke that night. I don't know shit. And Serrano's got his story. Serrano will testify at both trials here. So he testifies in his own trial. Serrano does that he watched Gillio shoot the first story. He watched everything happen, slipping in blood, terrified of the whole deal. That's what Serrano fucking gets. That's what they put on him. So that's what he says. December 4th, 2007, the verdict for him comes in. He is found guilty of 31 counts.
Oh, my.
Guilty, first and second degree murder, and 10 other charges like perjury, conspiracy, arson, robbery, shit like that.
That's the most charges anybody on this show.
It's 20 counts of murder. Total, like all together.
That's a lot.
There are 31 counts of first and second degree murder. I'm sorry, then 10 more. So it's 41 counts altogether. He's acquitted of one thing. It's 41 of 42 charges.
Okay.
He's put on. Now, the Gillio trial is pretty interesting here. 20 charges of first degree murder he is charged with, okay? 11 charges of second degree murder. 2 charges of third-degree arson, 6 charges of first-degree robbery, 1 charge of fourth-degree conspiracy, 1 charge of second-degree perjury, 1 charge of fifth-degree conspiracy.
Okay.
That's the charges, which is a fuckload. Serrano, he testifies. He said the whole story. I saw Gillio do this. He said they went there to, Joe wanted, or they wanted to rob him of cocaine and money and blah, blah, blah. Under cross-examination, Serrano said that he lied numerous times to the police about his whereabouts and all this sort of thing. They said, quote, "The bloody palm print was yours." He says, yes. They said, because the gun belonged to Serrano, by the way, the 22. It's his gun. Your gun killed these people? He said, yes. He said, you knew Tony and Tina were dead? He said, yes. And they said, did you call the police? And he said, no. So there's that. Serrano also said that he may have helped Giglio kill Tony Mori and prevented Ryan from fleeing the house. So under cross-examination, he says, I might have blocked the kid from running out of the door.
Gross.
But only so Charlie could bludgeon him to death. I'm not a monster, obviously. Right. Jesus Christ. I mean, I didn't kill him. I just, prevented his escape. He said that he's also hasn't been promised any break in exchange for his own testimony, which is kind of bullshit, as we'll find out. So other witnesses here were described by the prosecution as, quote, people you wouldn't want to have lunch with. So prison people here, like jail inmates. They included a bunch of convicted criminals that said they'd spoke to Giglio in jail and to Serrano, who told them all this type of shit. Dutchess County Jail inmate, one guy, Jack Angelvich, told the jury that Serrano told him on the eve of the verdict of his trial that he was guilty, but Giglio was not. So he said, I did it, not Giglio. So he also said that Serrano had told him someone else had been with him when he went to the Mori home, but he wouldn't give any names. I don't believe any of that. So asked by the prosecutor why he waited nearly 2 months to tell anyone, he said that I didn't want to get involved. Yeah. I don't want to get involved.
Myself. This shit's crazy.
Yeah. It's a lot to do. I had to get dressed and come here. It's too much. Could be doing push-ups right now against my cot. Wouldn't that be much more rewarding than this?
Yeah.
So state police investigator here told the jury that he took Giglio's clothes from him after he was taken into custody and said that Giglio said, quote, I didn't do it, but if I did, I don't recollect it. Yeah. And he said he remembers Giglio's exact words because he pronounced the word recollect as recollect. So he remembered that. They all, he was like probably making fun of him to the other cops, I'm sure. Right. This fucking idiot just said he didn't recollect anything. Dipshit. He's guilty, right? Let's just arrest him. I'm sure he's dumb enough to be guilty. So Giglio testifies on his own behalf.
Oh,
he said him and Tony have been friends since childhood, and while they sometimes had their differences, they said they were brothers. He said they're like brothers. He faced the jury here. They said, did you do it? He replied, absolutely not. He said, did you stab the Mori kids? He said, no way. Absolutely not. He said that Giglio said that he was drinking and beer and snorting cocaine with Serrano for several hours on the night of the 18th. He admitted he initially lied to police about some of his whereabouts that night. He said that he told state police investigators a few hours after the murders he never left his home that night. He later acknowledged that he had gone to Beacon with his 4-year-old son Kenny and Serrano to buy cocaine.
Oh my God.
So he took his kid on a coke run at 11 o'clock at night. That's nice. Real nice. Oh, God. So asked by the lawyer here why he lied, Giglio said he didn't want authorities to know that he took his son with him to buy drugs. Mm-hmm. He said, I didn't want the cops or Child Protective Services to know I was using coke. I thought they might come and take my kid away from me.
Yeah.
So this is a murder charge. You can deal with that later. Right. You can get your kid back or whatever, but if someone's accusing you of murder, you're going to fucking clear all that up first and then be like, now I'll go get my kid back. Can't get him from prison. He said that after he and his son and Serrano returned to his home after getting the coke, Serrano left the house about 2 hours later to buy more from the same guy in Beacon. Giglio said Serrano returned with the coke, but told him he had to leave and didn't say why. Soon after Serrano left, Giglio says that he locked his doors and went to sleep on his couch. He's like, I don't know where he went. I'm going to sleep here. Yeah. He then cross-examination came, and they were like, okay, that sounds like a bullshit story. Let's get into this. So they get into it. The prosecutor says that Giglio told the prosecutor he tried several times to call Tony when he got up on January 19th after one of his brothers told him about the murders and the fire. He's like, I didn't believe it, so I tried to call him. He said he used the direct connect feature on his Nextel cell phone to try and reach him. If there's ever been a more 2007 fucking alibi, that's the one right there. Holy shit. Like, that's the most 2007 alibi ever. Either that or I had to stay home because I was waiting for a DVD from Netflix. That's the only other thing that would be more 2007.
Answering my messages on MySpace.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to build my friends list. I was figuring out my top 9. I couldn't get it. So,
this next tells it's hanging me over until I can get that new Motorola Razr.
I'm saving. He said, I just got a long beep like Tony's phone had been disconnected. Asked by the prosecutor if he tried to call Tony or Tina on their home phone or on either of their cell phones, he said he hadn't. And the guy said, quote, this man was your best friend and you didn't once try to call his house or anything like that? What do you think he said? I'll give you a guess of what Gilio's reply was.
You didn't try calling his house?
Yeah,
he doesn't have a house phone.
No, or cell phones. No, he didn't try to call. All he did was a Nextel, and he's like, I don't know, it beeped. So I said, fuck it. And they were like, he's your best friend? You heard he was murdered? You didn't try to call him or his wife?
Yeah.
What do you think Gilio said why he didn't do that?
I didn't believe it.
Quote, I didn't have their numbers. His best friend.
Have their phone number?
Don't have their phone number. And I have no way of finding it ever either, I'm sure. No way of finding it. I never used them.
Right.
You'd have it in there somewhere.
We only CV radio each other.
Yeah, he said
it was our long lost dream to be truckers, so we just breaker each other.
Over the years, I've been building the world's longest string.
Right.
I got a can set up. Now it's a corn can. He got a green bean can.
Yeah.
It's 1.5 miles long between our two houses. I don't really need modern technology when I have cans and string. So he said, the prosecutor said, you guys were like brothers and you didn't have his home phone number? And said Gilio became agitated and interrupted several times, and they went back and forth. And he said, the prosecutor asked him why he told police Serrano had called him at 1:30 a.m. to say he had arrived safely at his home. And he said, quote, Mark getting home at 1:30 has nothing to do with you and Kenny and CPS, does it? And Gilio said no. So he got caught in a whole bunch of all this shit.
Yeah.
The verdict here, the jury deliberates for 37 hours over 4.5 days, which that's a rough one, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot. They come back, though, guilty on 41 of 42 counts.
That's a lot.
One of the second-degree murder counts, both of them were acquitted on. I don't know how that worked. And I think that was because you can't say that basically there was the kid who died when he would have died from blunt force trauma, stabbing, or smoke inhalation. That's what it was. You
can't stick who did what.
Yeah, but not exactly. You can't tell what came first. When the guilty verdict was read, Tina's mother, Arlene Cortez, had a big gasp and was crying and everything like that. And Gilio started crying as well. And as he was escorted away, he said, quote, I didn't do this.
Okay.
He shouted, he didn't do this to the family there. Now, the reaction by everybody, they said, with a crime like this, so many deaths and the manner of those deaths, I can't imagine anything other than the maximum, is what the prosecutor said. He's going to be asking for the maximum in sentencing. He says, I'm grateful but not surprised by the length of the verdicts that they took. It took incredible discipline to consider all the charges, and obviously I agree with the results. A bunch of people from the area said they feel better now, and feels a little better. We didn't know if we had like a mass murderer going around or what, and it turns out it was just a couple of coked up scumbags. People feel a little bit better by knowing that.
Sure.
Now, for sentencing, the family, Kohler, that's Tina's family, the mother says, quote, my only daughter and the only grandchildren were my heritage and my future. They meant everything to me. I'll never get to see Manuel, Adam, and Ryan grow up. I'll never have the opportunity to see Tina become a grandparent, a role I cherished. I'll never be able to see any of them. I'll never be able to speak to them again. All that's left is a gaping hole in what was once my family.
Jesus.
That's fucking heartbreaking and absolutely true. She said that she said, quote, I know Tina and the boys and Tony are all in heaven now. Tina was my number one angel when she was on earth. Now she's really an angel. Her aunt also spoke. She said, my daughter grew up with Tina. My grandson played with the Maury boys. Now the family is gone. There's no more birthdays, no more Christmases. The prosecutor talked specifically about the 13-year-old son and his defense wounds and the fight he put up. And
87 stab wounds.
Yeah, how you had to really want that to get that done. And he said, quote, I pictured that 13-year-old boy trying to defend himself, and that was the most terror I could think of. No sentence given to Mr. Gilio will cause him that kind of terror. And so he says he rarely asks a judge for the maximum sentence, but he was convinced it was the proper thing to do in this case. He said the legislature sets a maximum sentence for a reason. Every case is different, and I always ask myself if there's a reason the maximum isn't appropriate. This time, I came up with no reason. Gilios, though, when they said during sentencing, what do you have to say for himself? He said, same as he said through the trial, he was never at their house on the day of the murders, maintained his innocence. He said, quote, I honestly had nothing to do with this crime. He said, I did not do this to the Mori family. I loved them with all my heart. The lawyer said he believed his client was innocent and he planned to appeal the verdict. And, the judge has a different opinion. He says that he was touched particularly by a letter he received from one of the Mori family relatives. He said that the author of the letter said that he hoped every night before you go to bed, addressing Gilio, that you think of the boys. And Gilio said, there isn't a night I don't think of them. So he was trying to get out of a little bit there. So the judge says, quote, I can't think of anything else that has affected the public. Here were 3 young kids whose lives were just snuffed out. And why? Because of a white powder? It's hard to decipher the brutality and viciousness of this assault. In 40 years, I've never seen anything like it. Oh, boy. You don't want to hear that from a judge.
No.
He says that. Then he says, you, sir, may fuck off. Life without parole. No chance. Fucked for Gilio here. The charges were convicted 20 counts of first-degree murder, which is 5 consecutive terms of life without parole. Second-degree murder, 10 counts, 25 years to life for each one. 2 counts, third-degree arson, 5 to 15 years in prison. 6 counts of robbery, which is 25 years in prison. 1 count of fourth-degree conspiracy, which is like a year and change to 4 years. 1 count of perjury, a year and change to 4 years. And fifth-degree conspiracy, which is 1 year as well. He's got quite a lot going on there. So the Serrano sentencing, they get to him. He gets a little bit different. You, sir, may fuck off. 50 years to life in prison.
Okay.
Which, I'm sorry, but...
they should mirror each other.
Either mirror or the other way around.
Yeah.
Either one. Because, I mean, what? Why? He's got... the most evidence against him.
But also, with what happened to that family, anybody walking out of that house that had anything to do with that should all get the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. They said that they weren't going to give him any break in sentencing.
Yeah.
But I'm not positive that the prosecutor asked for the maximum. So he didn't ask to take it easy on him, but he also didn't say, hey, judge, bang this motherfucker good for me, which is what he did with Gilio. So it's a little different. Tina Mori's mother said, I'm happy with the sentence, but that doesn't mean I've got closure. I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to kiss them goodbye. That was taken away from me. I'm glad the jurors saw through all of Gilio's denials and found him guilty, and obviously the judge agreed with them. I'm glad we're at the point where where we're just about done with the legal chapter of this story. The Gilio family said they were praying an appeals court would grant their son a new trial and he would eventually be exonerated. They said, quote, Mark Serrano is framing my boy and I don't know why. I don't know. Asked if anyone, they said, do you know of any evidence that hasn't come out that could possibly help your son? And he said, you mean new clues? No, I wish I did. Not good. Now, on this story, I found something that there was comments on this on a couple of these sites.
Oh, boy.
By the way, I have to thank the Poughkeepsie Journal for a lot of their coverage on this. The newspaper here, a lot of the details that really nobody else had came out of the Poughkeepsie Journal. Also, this was New York Times, New York Post, Daily News. It was all over the place. So one particular commenter here said about, this was on October 5th, 2018, somebody said that they deserved what they got, the killers, obviously.
Right.
He said, quote, agree, and Charles Gilio was always always a piece of shit bully since he was a kid. Loved picking on younger kids and selling drugs behind the Duchess Mall near the old Movies and Dream Machine entrance, which is fucking true, actually. He's been an evil little bastard since childhood. Back in 2008, sadly, I was not shocked to hear what he did. That goes for pretty much everybody around here that knew him. They were like, oh, that fits. Yep. Yeah. Okay. I expected he'd go to jail for something dumber or whatever, not something that vicious, but wow, not surprised.
Right.
So Gillio right now is in Clinton. That's the prison he's in, which is it's a tough prison, boy. Good luck for you. He is in prison there. It says that it's all sorts of first-degree murder, and his earliest release date is life. So he's fucked.
Never.
He's going to die in there. Mark Serrano, on the other hand, though, he's at Auburn right now, and he looks like will be eligible for parole. Earliest release date, Jimmy?
2046?
January 23rd, 2057.
Oh, I was close.
So he's got quite a while.
If he gets out,
he's going to be almost 80. And
the world's going to be much different.
Can you imagine that?
Somebody give me a phone. I got to make a walkie-talkie.
Oh, what now? I need to Nextel direct somebody. Yeah. What the fuck is a Nextel? So now the house, by the way, where this happened, the landlord, pretty much right after they took all the evidence out, was given permission to demolish the remains and raise the whole thing. It currently has 2 houses on this property.
Oh, like a duplex?
I get like 2 different houses, 6 bedrooms, 3 baths, 3,409 square feet worth of house.
Holy shit!
In 2 separate houses, though, so it could be 3 and 1 and 2. And the Zestimate is $574,569 for the whole shebang.
Yeah, it's
both
a new
houses.
place. Yeah,
it says 2 homes, 1 lot, close to all. Great opportunity for extended family investment, or live in one and rent the other to help pay your mortgage. Move in ready. Home 1 built 2008. Yeah, built in 2008. After this shit, offers 2,161 finished square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, full basement. Updates include all this different shit. Each home has its own driveway and lot may be subdivided. This, from what I heard, I remember asking my brother about this a couple of years ago, and he was like, that house was like vacant for a long time, and like they don't have an easy time. Someone's in it now, or it's at least sold now, but I guess it was not an easy sell for a long time.
I'm sure.
It's the house where that family was murdered and burned to the ground. It's not exactly a... Oh, you live where? Oh, where the family was murdered and all the kids were stabbed to death and the thing was burned to the fucking ground. Oh yeah, I hear that's nice now. I hear they put fucking tile floors in there. Yeah, that's beautiful. I hear there's marble countertops now. That's good.
Open floor plan? I've heard of it.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. They put a pool in there? Holy shit. Jesus H. Christ. What a fucking thing. So that, everybody, is Fishkill, New York. And
good Lord, man.
That's the murder that I've been talking about for a while, doing my hometown murder.
What a town.
I said, it's a pretty fucking... That was a mess, man.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit that happens here. So hopefully that happens everywhere. It was the whole goddamn point of what I was trying to tell everybody. It was, who cares? Don't get pissy because shit happens everywhere, and we're going to make fun of it no matter where the fuck it is. So
there you go.
Enjoy. And if you did enjoy that, you should tell us about it and tell the world about it. Get on Apple Podcasts, that purple icon, and let us know that you like the show. 5 stars would mean the world, and it doesn't matter what you say because it's not for our egos. Say something silly. Do your best horse pun. We'll be
that's
fine.
Good. Yeah.
There you go. Get your best horse joke from last week and put it up there and do it yourself. And or say what you used to smoke weed behind. That could help too.
Your mom's
what establishments you used to smoke weed behind. That'll be fun. But 5 stars do help drive us up the charts. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com where you can get everything small town murder and crime and sports related. And listen to Crime and Sports this upcoming week. We have Michael Irvin, who is very famous and has a wild story. And in addition to that, the 2021 Scummy Awards.
Oh, fantastic.
The pageantry, Jimmy. Yeah. I'm going to have my tux on. You're going to have your tux on. Yeah, I got to take a limo to my own house. Yeah. It's a very
coveted
awards.
Yeah.
It's complicated. We got to do it, Jimmy. This is the pageantry, the grandeur the people needed, and we're going to give it to them. The Scummy Awards coming up next week.
Golden Globes ain't shit.
Nothing. They ain't got shit on the Scummies. So check that out, the Scummies on Crime and Sports. Also listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie because I have to watch Twilight. So make that worth my while by listening to me complain about it with my wife there, and we have a ball with that shit. Also, if you want to follow us on social media, we're at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at
what is it?
Instagram, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. That's the one. Follow us on all those. And if you want even more of us for some reason, we have lots on Patreon.
Yes.
And if you sign up, we've had a lot of people ask this. If you sign up, you absolutely get access to the full catalog of bonus episodes. You don't just get from when you sign up on. You can listen to we got 75, 80 episodes in there to listen to. There's so many episodes. I don't know how many, but there's a bunch. Over 50, I know that. Episodes of Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder bonuses that you get, and you get access to all of that at patreon.com/crime and sports. This next bonus episode, which will be this weekend coming up here, we have, first of all, Crime and Sports Danny Almonte, who is a Little League pitcher who threw so hard no one could believe he was Little League age, and they were completely right because he fucking wasn't. And he was an older kid blowing 11-year-olds away, which is pretty amazing. And
the word away there is very important.
Oh, they were clearing off they're making him a bust at Cooperstown. They were like, he's going to be the greatest. And they're like, oh no, he was like 15. Never mind. He was just an average 15-year-old. And then also we have a murder case in Oregon so crazy that we're going to do a murder as a bonus, which we hardly ever do. Yeah. We only do it when they're that insane. So it's a wild spree of insanity. Check that out. Telling you it's worth it. All that and more. And by the way, the next, after this, 2 weeks from now, next Small Town Murder bonus Patreon episode will be The Prisoner Dating Game.
Terrific.
The long-awaited return of The Prisoner Dating Game. Get all that and more. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And on top of that, Jimmy will mispronounce your name. Not on purpose.
Yeah.
But he'll fuck it up. You know that.
I'm doing my best.
He's trying, everybody. Be nice to him, but he does a good job fucking it up, and he's great at it. And if you just want to have good karma and also be a producer and have your name mispronounced, because that is important, you can do that over at PayPal as well using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. That said, I think, Jimmy, after this crazy week, and who knows how many people will want to kill me after today, how many fucking pitchforks and torches are going to be chasing me down the road? Yeah. Let me hear about the people who don't want to cause me bodily harm, or you for that matter, who want to be nice to us. Our favorite people in the world, our producers. Jimmy, hit me with them right now.
This week's executive producers are Joanne Ahern. Happy birthday, by the way. Molly McDermott, birthday. Keegan King, Lady Vandercat, Chrissy Ann Castaldi's back. Thank you, Chrissy. Miss you so much. Ann Fontaine, maybe. Susanna Platt, Nicholas Chaltry in Colorado Springs, thank you. Maria Rasper, Sonia Reese, Pamela Sloan, the original Pamela, Jordan Bennett, of course, in Canada.
Pamela.
Yeah.
Oh, Jordan, we love
Karen Edgen, Michael Farrar, and there's no way that's Kelly. Kylie Coleman? I'm not sure. Titty Neptune? No. Kitty
Neptune?
That's a K. Holy Christ.
Titty Neptune, everybody.
Wouldn't it be fantastic if I did that on purpose? Jesus Christ. Allie Silverhouse.
Like somebody's weird aunt. We're going to Aunt Titty's house. Just don't touch anything. Sorry.
Oh, boy. Allie Silverhouse. And Paterno watched. I don't know what that means, but
watching Joe Paterno.
So bad.
He's dead, and they're just watching him.
He's the one that was involved in the shit, right?
He just kind of looked the other way.
Yeah.
He never diddled, but he definitely allowed diddling to take place.
Somebody's making wild ass accusations while they donate to us.
Hey, accuse away if you're giving us money. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. Accuse anybody.
Other producers this week are very long, and it's because we told people to settle their dime debt that is now $1.
And oh my God!
So many people answered the call. call, and I can't thank you guys enough.
Thank you so much, everybody.
The inside jokes and comments via the PayPal app were hysterical.
They were funny.
Thank you all so much. Other producers are, here we go, Nikki and Joe got married. Congratulations, both of you. Nicole Pungatori, I think. Hannah Bragg. Stitches and Steel. That is Sarah at Stitches and Steel. I don't know what Stitches and Steel is, but apparently she stitches steel. Also, Highwell Davy, Laura Howard, Kay Hates Toast, Maik Gibson. That might be a girl. That might be Mikey.
You don't know.
I don't have a clue. Corey and Amber Call. Here we go. Laisha, Lanisha, and Latasha. Latasha is the easiest one to pronounce of those four.
Yeah. Were those all the same person?
Yeah, no, I think it's all the same family, though.
Oh, okay. A group. Yeah. Okay, I like it.
HP Forever 81, Terry Staudinger, Lexi Bean, Echo Lens, Terry Rogers, Robin Heyer. Thank you very much. She said something very sweet also. Lindsay Aoun, that's Kat Collado, Daniel Green, and he called us bloodsuckers, which I laughed at. Because we begged for our 10 cents back and made him pay $1. Eric Rodriguez, Tammy Curtis, Elizabeth Nelson, Bobby Chambliss, Joanna Kagan, Molly McCarthy, Bobby Starr, Original Beef Brothers, Rick Mahorn, and Jeff Ruland. I don't. Is that a thing? Was that what they were called?
Rick Mahorn's not that I know. I
don't know. He's a beef brother.
I didn't know about that either. But hey, you learn
Michael Rose, Gracie Juntinen. I don't know. Marianne Rodriguez, Michael Garcia, Talina Jensen. God damn it. Thank you, Talina. Lisa Love, Ashley Vio, Mason Spates, and his girlfriend Kendra had a birthday this week. Happy birthday, Kendra. Pixie De Leon, Travis Croxford, Yak's Motorcycle Maintenance and Detail Shop, Carl Kirshner, again with the fucking umlaut. How did I do that?
Corporal umlaut. There he is. Thank you.
Peyton Meadows, happy birthday to Carrie Melmer. Amanda Knight, Tyler Combs. God damn it. James Martyr, Maria Kipsusley. This is going to be like when people go to high schools and they sit through 3,000 people's names before they get to their niece, and then they can get the fuck out of there. Luis Reyes, Casey Smith, Deanna Grimes, Richard Johnson, I doubt it, Rob Wilson and his lady love Tarnia Goodsell, Ariadna Sanchez, M. Louisa Edmondson, Eric Wagner, Mr. Fabulous 913, Kevin Anderson, Gabriel Bell, Lee Hibbler, Nicolette Nguyen, Andrea Martha Boyle, Alexis Amos had a birthday also, Stephanie Hernandez, Margaret Quackenbush, is that real? Steve Schnell, Moto Fab called us twat waffles, which I enjoyed as well.
Okay.
Marty Emmerich, Deanna Lewis, Sabrina Marsan, Jesus, Heather Rippey, Stacy Nielsen, Courtney Chenier, Jason Lizotte, Paul Such, Jessica Kuda, Tyler Card, Natasha Turner Swift, Adonia Demakis, I don't know, Kaylin Bancroft, Sarah Hines, I think, Janice Hill, Melissa Moss, Adam Simon, Ryan and Elizabeth Shahade, Jamie McGorley, Stephanie Holtz, Drew Shockley, Lindsay King, Amanda McAllister, Kathleen Marquardt, Matthew Wilkins, Sarah Surridge, Catherine Reese, Jennifer Litticote, Jesus, fuck, James Richardson, Matt Shannon, Thomas Smith, and Natasha Harris, Michael Musalf, Your Fandom or Mine, Amy Edwards, Carla Broman, Jesse Pitts, he's a great dude, by the way. He messages me to check on me more than my mom. It's fucking phenomenal. Cool. Mario Guerra sent us bullet keychains, by the way. I got to give you one. Thanks, Mario. Thank Timothy Waller, Alice Agner, Thomas DeMello, Patricia Arkand, Luke Becker, Andrea Martinez, Christopher Nelson, Rose Martinez, Dakota Harrington, John Ure. He's in Minnesota. One of our first guys that ever sent us a goddamn $1. Thank you, John.
Wow, thank you so much.
Laura Schwartz Hockey, Siona Messing. Thank you very much, by the way. She sent a nice word also. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. I'll have to look it up. But she said something nice. Meredith Phillips. No, she sent a giant donation, which was unbelievably so sweet. Thank you so much, Siona.
Or Siona. We appreciate it.
I love you. I appreciate it so much that I can't pronounce your name. That's how
you'll fuck her name up repeatedly.
Dan Burley, Sam Terranova, Janelle Jonick, Christopher Dilly, Jude Kendall, Dina Jones, Dan Blagio, Kimberly Wilson, Cody Leversey, Jessica Masseri, and Mr. the Cat, Alyssa Gilbert, Allison Warnock, and Allison Heimer. She sent a Diamond Sports, which was, I thought, a great fun. Christopher Tyner, Sarah Gray, Jennifer Harrison, Connor Catus, I don't know, Christy Ayani, Robert Sakuch, Kimberly Turno, Kyle Waugh, Molly Parker, Charlotte Riles, Melissa Green, Brian Killian, Eric Hawk, Jacqueline Donaldson, The Weirdest Death Podcast, Bethany Urban, Travis Robert, Sten Cryer, Misty Keene, Eric Walter, Matt McLean, Jillian Graham, Victor Sandoval, Heather Norton, I think that's right. Yes. Caleb White, Larry Butterfass. Why did it changed it to Butterfly? But I know the guy, so I know it's Butterfass.
He's always giving us stuff. He's a nice
damn it, guy. Apple. Matthew Mills. That's not even my fault. I know I spelled that right. Stacy Hans, Karen. What is this? They changed it too. There's no way it's Dykabinis. What? Andrea Beitlich, John B., Amanda Harper, Terry Lishka, Amy Farr, Jasenia Vaca. Oh, yes, Vaca. Ashley Curran, Kimberly Moore, Stephen Lynn, Audra Wallace, Guy Dobson, Randy Schwartzman, Toby Danger Personage, Zoe Bednasak, William, nope, that's Mason, Wicks, Morgan Outerbridge, James Vaughn, Ashley Shute, Shannon Rutledge, Samantha Preeby, Seth with no last name, Brianna Rabenberg, Amanda, nope, that's Adam. Corbett, Joe Son. I hope
Adam,
it's not
guess
that
what
one,
your
by
name
the way.
Is.
Shane Dockrell, Adam with no last name, Wayne William
Amanda
Phillips.
With no last name.
Yes, that's who it is. Lori Burkowski, Green Bastard, Aaron Mule, Samantha Kuntz, Enrique Palazzo, Alicia Buran, Alicia, I don't know what that is. Mindy Rock,
somewhere in there.
Colby Burke, Robert Perez, Justin Kiso, Shanna Dodge, Ashley Lynn, Paul K, Christopher Barnett, Aaron Lovins, Rachel Ward, Mark Olson, Caitlin Connor, Sarah Finley, Fatima with no last name, Outdoors East Coast, not right now, motherfucker, Ashley Heberding, Evan Olson, Kristen House, Sarah Howard, LB, Alex Sabrisky, TK, Tara with no last name, Jacob with no last name, Paul Gavin, Aunt Fu, Michelle Hickman, Sarah Goers, Chad Kleinfelter, Bree Brown, Jameson Cheyenne, no way. Did I get that right? Jamie son? I don't know. Jamie and Josie, Zach Einwag, Cody Neal, Clear with no last name, Montana with no last name, Nina Lua.
The whole state of Montana?
The whole state. The goddamn, they love us. Nina Lau Fieria. Yeah. Sam Deep, Mala. Brady Camp, Rochelle Moore, Christina Zerwer Gafar, that's not right, Pamela Corwin, Jenny Brown, Chase Berger, Kay Chad, Natasha Lorenz, Carrie Ward, Sydney Stewart, Imran Khan. If that's Hansi, I'll lose my mind. It's such a popular name, by the way, Imran Khan, but I know a dude anyway. S. Corey, James McDonald, Michael Lots, Jesus, Trisha Bono Anano, what? That can't be right.
Pardon?
Vono Ano, what? Damian Bernhardt, Jesus. Patricia Lindsay, A. Gail McKinney, Ulysses with no last name, Ricky, Elaine, I don't know.
All right.
Kevin Stiff, Olaf Inglesdoder, Inglebert's Doder. Trying my best to sound it out like I tell my daughter to do. Amanda Nyati, Emma Noel, Samuel Katz, Serena McPherson, Sarah Titterington. Crystal Watkinson. I'm trying so hard. Cody Webb, Ian Grossel, Ashley Klein Hesslink, Monique with no last name, Tabby Sprague, Brian Dixon, Catherine Hongerholt, oh boy, Tony Trifoletti, Dana Pritchard, Michelle Nickerson, Emily Olive Pettit.
You got this.
Yeah. Slow it down, Whisman. Hillary Juergens, Coyle Cartman, Intertwined Realms, Lauren Wagner, Kyla Milner, Matthew Bowden, Derek Stowell, and Nikki F., Amoy Hamilton, Roy Baca, McCall and Elise Picard, James Pohl, and Jamie Hunt, CDMWPB, Alex Fernandez, Sarah Edstrom, Andrew Mazzeo, Ted Sauerberg, Deja Knight, Shelley Hain, Neat with no last name, Brian Wetzel, they got pretzel money, Holly Huffman,
pretzel dough out.
Rachel Bauman, Chad Milson, Desiree Harris, Brittany with no last name, Daniel McIntyre, Jeanette Pamaleon, oh boy, Ben Mager, Kevin Hoffbauer, David Harper, Brittany Ritt, Jesus Christ, Carly Rivers, Yusi with no last name, Kevin with no last name, Daniel Rube, Jesus, Madeline Giddens, Bethany Rogers Whisman, Terrence Quigley, Nicholas Viette, Amber Allen, Jamie Harris, Ashley Burns, Mike Pubo, Forrest Hartman, Hunter with no last name, Frasia. Don't look at me. Yeah, that might be it. Money. Janae Kopecki, Tristan Dunlap, Rob Nelson, Charles Brogdon, Suzanne Rodriguez, Peter Gaudreau, Damon Machelat, Jesse Ellenberger, Michael Emmons, Brittany Wang, Alexis with no last name, Coleman Johnson, Jonathan Jarecki, Roger Pierce, Kat Jones, Lauren with no last name, Mistress Vader, Julian K, Danara Tran, Andrew Bailey, might be our dude, I think. Probably. Maybe another one. Could be a possible.
Maybe. We love this Andrew Bailey. We love any Andrew Bailey who gives us money.
At least two of them. Jackie Howell, Tierra Porter, Brian Tharp, Jay Warren, Chris with no last name, Derek Senator, Cassie Bartlett, Christina Vidland, Kyle Ingenthorpe. Jesus, what the fuck happened? It's coming off the rails. Vivian Barber, Kevin Manif. They'd have to be on the rails first. Matthew Menschik, Sarah Hunt. I think it's a new one. I think that's another Sarah Hunt.
She was like, oh my God, somebody with my name.
Somebody named Sarah Hunt.
She was very taken aback by that.
Trevor Wise, Danielle Cleaver, Brenda Wallace, Amy with no last name, Robert Jones, Amy Sizemore, hope not Tom, related to. That guy's a
Tom's daughter.
Fuck that guy. Brendan Petershak, that's gross. Marcia Widow, Paul Leatherbarrow, Amanda Weir, Corey McKinnon, Emily Ann Troutman, Matt Hagan, Michelle Dewar, Brett Nelson, Megan Savage, Iron Cannibal CFL, Trevor Dujmic. I'm doing my best. Margaret Mayer, Shamar Jordan, Eden with no last name, Cassie Huntley, Richard Blanco, James Lutchman, Molly DeBarrard, Sir Pounce, Albin Amby, Anthony Monteleone. That's an Italian guy, of course. Cope Duchesne, Pucker Brush, Holden Page, Nikki Moore, Kayla Gardner, Jennifer Saunders, Gina B, Angela Shoemaker, Molly Parrish, Kevin Westbay, Nivek Rel, Amelia Grossman, Crystal Stewart, Ruben with no last name, Ben Tams, Beth Gadow, Sam Dobbs, Sadie Laura, Brandon Cherry, Jeremy Favreau, MJ Hart, Ted Samuel, Caitlin Victoria Gray, Killer Dragon 2019, Instant Rye Play, Shay Felicio. Dan Hogan, B.A. Metz, Akash Desai, Akash, I don't know, Cher with no last name, Nick Luizios, that's not right either, Mark Godbeer, Andrew Mullen, Moyan, Nick Dillingham, Meth Falcon Investments, John Clay, Jeremy Powers, John Friedach, Jamie Rose Plum, Kalia Conley, okay, we're almost done. Ryan Williams, Dirk Dangle, Elizabeth Feather, Tiffany Armour, Emily Makes Coffee, I'll bet she does, Chelsea Ferguson, Daniel Verhagen, Jesus, Rachel Solenberg, Robert Peterson, Luke Vickers, Christy Gels, Sam with no last name, Cordy Swift, Mike Colt Coit, Jesus, fuck, Kelsey Martin, what? Why is there an A? Lily Pashal, Matt Smith, Josh with no last name, Smitty Werbin Jaegerman Jensen, fuck, Denny Board, Jamie Lee Coffee, Parker, what is this? Bromit, Susie Sunshine, Ethan Moore, Derek Pearson, Randy Lofton, and Brendan Bauer, and obviously all of our patrons. You guys are the fucking best people on earth. We can't thank you enough. Truly, you've made my life and James's life much easier than it ever has been.
Absolutely.
Thank you forever. I can't thank you enough.
Mine. Easier or anything else, better.
Yeah,
thank you,
honestly.
guys. We feel loved and cherished and not starving. So thank you. That helps a lot to be able to pay our bills. That's very nice. And just all the support you guys give us in every single way. Everything, whether it be just saying something nice or just listening, telling somebody, donating, whatever the hell it is that you're doing for us, we appreciate any effort that you make.
Truly. And I owe you so much gratitude. Thank you.
What if people wanted to say something to you? How could they find you, Jimmy?
They've done it. They've found me everywhere, and I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. What about you?
Yeah, you know how to Google people.
Yeah,
it's fine.
We're
just
around.
Find us if you want to find us. We're on there.
Thank you.
Thank you, honestly, for everything that you've done for us. We really, really do appreciate it. We're coming up on, 4 years, I think, of the show.
It's unbelievable.
Very, very soon.
Yeah.
For this month, I think, is 4 years of the show. So just thank you for everything you've done for us for the last 4 years and 6 years if you're a crime and sports person. So just thank you so much. Or 5 years, not 6 years. 4 years and 5 years. Yeah, 5 and 4. So thank you so much for that. And honestly, we can't thank you enough. And we're going to keep thanking you. And we'll keep thanking you all week. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.